What's up, everybody? My name's Justin Allen. This is obviously my uncle Walter Allen. You want to introduce yourself?
My name is Matthew Bertram.
And I'm Garrett Lehman.
And we're over here at Matt's house this evening. We're going to talk about Garrett's 200-incher. He's going to tell a story about that. It's really going to be like our first buck profile so far on the podcast. But yeah, this is episode 6 of the Shakedown. How you guys doing this evening?
Doing good.
Pretty good.
Garrett, where'd you kill that deer at? I mean, no, not like
In
don't.
the woods?
Yeah, in the woods. In the woods. What state? We'll go with that. Ohio.
Yep.
That's on some family property.
Uh-huh.
So tell us a little bit about the deer. Tell us the history about it. I knew you killed the deer. Obviously, Walter told me about it whenever you did, and I seen some trail cam pictures and stuff of it, but I don't know anything about it. So just give me the rundown.
Well,
I didn't have a ton of history with him. He just kind of showed up. But I got my first picture of him. I mean, he was probably halfway developed, about mid-June with his velvet. And then, so I knew there was a really big one around. And I don't think I had another picture of him until it was right before velvet started to drop. So right around the end of August, first week of September.
So your first picture is like midsummer. You can tell he's big, but you don't really know anything about it yet.
I think across half a dozen trail cams, he might have showed up maybe, I don't even think 10 times. 10 instances where he showed up to a camera.
And this was the first year you guys had this place, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
So no prior history, obviously, just that first year.
Yep.
And when did you shoot him? What was the date?
Well, I actually shot him twice. So the first time, it was mid-October. That was probably the third or fourth time I'd gotten pictures of him. And I hadn't been able to pin down a particular area that he was moving, but I was doing some scouting one day, and I happened to stumble across a scrape line, and judging by the size of the trees and just the area that was torn up, I kind of figured it had to have been a pretty big buck.
Yeah.
So I was able to shoot him the first time. I think that was a Sunday afternoon, so I worked all week. It was either Friday or Saturday. I took my climber in to that scrape, and he showed up right at last light, and I shot him the first time, and I had to call Walt.
I remember I was hunting, and he kept on telling me, he's like, man, well, he called me there like the week before, and he was like, dude, it's got to be this flat, like it's torn up, like I'm going to put a camera on this flat. And you said you got a picture of him on that flat, right?
No, I never even got a picture of him. I just
saw the rubs.
Yeah, I just saw his scrapes and rubs there, and
Just assumed it was a big deer and went in kind of blind, and he walked in.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And you called me and you were like, man, I hit him. I was like, what? And I was walking out of the stand. I was out walking out of the blind. I was like, I'll be there in a second. Like, I'm going right there.
Right.
So
anyway, you call Walter and he comes in to track the deer.
yep. And
But you didn't have any idea where you hit him, or do you think you hit him? Where did you?
I felt good about the shot.
Right.
I felt
He was real close to your tree.
I felt too good about the shot to be surprised at the blood trail being so bad.
Right.
So, but I was shooting these little fixed blades,
Yeah.
which I had to.
He's shooting compound bow, or yeah. Gotcha. What broadheads were you using?
Those were some Striker V2s.
Gotcha. What do you shoot now? Havocs.
Yep. So, yeah.
We didn't track it, but maybe 100 yards or less.
Yeah.
The blood trail just wasn't.
Yeah. And Walt said as soon as he saw the blood, that deer ain't dead.
That is, you can tell by buck.
Yeah.
This wasn't.
So you didn't track it very far then.
We looked for probably 300 yards or so, but
Did you find your arrow?
yeah.
Oh, it was sticking in the ground. It was a full pass through.
And just was it covered in blood or?
Oh, yeah.
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 Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
So and then after you realized that you're not going to get him,
Yep.
did he show back up on camera anywhere?
Yeah, it was right out a month later.
You had to be completely sick.
Yeah.
Well,
Josh got pictures of him.
yeah. So I did what Walt said. I just said I waited it out. I looked for buzzards. I did everything I could do other than just sit and wait. So, yeah, a buddy of ours had told us that he'd gotten,
He showed up.
yeah,
His
he
camp.
showed back up.
Still alive.
And he told me I better get up there and get back to hunting. So I did. And after a week or so after he showed back up, I hadn't had any pictures. Just really no sign of him at all. Our buddy hadn't been getting pictures of him. And it just so happened I was getting out of my stand one night and I said, what are the odds I see this deer on the drive home? And sure enough, I get half a mile down the road,
And there he is.
like 20 yards in front of my truck.
Oh man.
Video it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's huge.
So he finally showed back up on camera. It was, I think, 3:53 a.m. the next morning. And then I was able to pull up an Onyx and
Make a game plan.
yeah, I picked a spot that I thought looked pretty good, and sure enough,
You just walk in and climb her again and shoot him.
yeah,
What's the
Meant to be
chances?
right there.
Yeah. I mean,
Corn pile.
yeah,
not very many people get an opportunity to 200 incher once in their life, let alone the same one twice.
Twice.
yeah,
A month.
Yeah.
Maybe a month from first time to second time.
yeah. That it was a tough evening. I shot him too. It was probably 35 degrees out, and I had the wind blowing in my face all freaking evening. I was pretty much froze to the bone, and yeah, I looked at my phone. It was like 4:30, 4:45, and I said, I should tough it out. And he was the only deer I saw that day.
No kidding.
Yep.
Oh, well, when it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So did you switch broadheads before you shot him the second time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Walt advised me on that as well.
Yeah.
How far did he go when you shot him that night?
What do you think? 75, 80 yards?
Yeah, it was, well, so I was actually out eating, and he told me he was going to go that night because he sent me the video of that deer crossing the road, and then he sent me the picture of him in the morning. And we went out to eat that afternoon, and he went to hunt, and as soon as I saw his name come up on my phone, I was like, he got here. I was like, before I even answered, I was like, no way.
Yeah,
And I think when I answered, I was like, shut up. And you're like, I hit him. I was like, I'll be back. I'll be there. And yeah, it was Ben, you and I.
Yeah.
We went down there, man. That blood trail.
Yeah. We caught another one of my good buddies, and
Yeah, that blood trail's, 4 foot wide.
oh my.
It crossed the road, and I remember when we took the flashlights and shot it up on the road, the ground was just red. And I was like, he's close right here.
How long did you wait before you went and looked for him?
An hour and a half, probably. I could tell by the blood trail that he wasn't gonna go far.
Yeah. That's always a good feeling.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what age did you start hunting?
I bet I was 10, probably.
How old are you now?
25.
25. So, obviously, that's your biggest deer, but yeah, I'm sure you've killed
By
some.
far.
Yeah, I'm sure you've killed some nice deer over the years, though.
Really, most of the other ones are 130, 135. Nothing, no trophy class bucks by any means.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
You haven't had
Kind of.
farm very long.
compared to that.
Right.
say
Oh, I mean, there's great deer and then there's extraordinary deer.
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's a once in a lifetime kind of deer.
Matt brought up this buck on the wall back behind you guys. We were,
What? I mean, 2012, 2013. Yeah, 'cause him and I.
we thought that buck was a giant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Before trail cameras, or we just went out and hunted.
Dude, I grew up hunting in West Virginia, so like anything was like a nice deer, and I can still remember Walter shot a 9-point out in the country that time. It was probably like looking back at it now, you're like, man, that's not very big.
Yeah.
16-inch 9.
Yeah, like a 120-inch deer, but man, we thought it was giant back then. Yep.
Yeah, it's like these cell cams and stuff. It's back then before, we really ran core piles or trail cameras. Now it's, back when you saw driving up the road, you saw 130-inch deer, like, holy crap, story of the night. Now it's crazy how it's changed.
So you run cell cameras?
Yeah.
So once you got this deer in the summertime, you knew he was there. You just go crazy with it.
As crazy as I could. I got so few pictures of him that it was. I moved cameras around quite a bit, and I was doing mock scrapes and all that kind of stuff, and trying to pinpoint trails. And
How far was it from where you wounded him to where you killed him?
oh, probably 300 or 400 yards. I
Yeah,
would say.
it's pretty close. I shot a nice one in 2016 and wounded it, and we tracked it, and it showed back up a couple days later on right where I shot him, but then he never showed back up there again. I ended up moving like 1,000 yards to kill him.
It's crazy how they know.
So I guess circling back to the midpoint of the story, that first shot was actually
Look good.
almost perfect broadside, but what happened was it came out right here.
At his sternum.
Well, you had like a steep angle,
Yeah.
so it
Yeah,
just
he was.
through here and out the bottom.
5 or 6 yards retreat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
5 or 6 yards, easy.
you just didn't get into the cavity.
No, and I'd never seen a buck like that before, let alone have one 5 yards from the bottom of my stand.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't be able to keep it together.
Hard to accept that he was still alive.
yeah. So looking back, I should have probably held pretty much right at his backbone, but
Yeah, those steep angles,
Straight down shots are hard.
they're hard.
Yeah.
So what'd you say, 204, 206 is what you're thinking it was?
I think tying.
If you trust us.
Unofficially official, yeah.
unofficially.
Yeah. And we got, I think there's 3 of us scored them, and we were all above 200. I think I got 206, and my buddy got 205, 206. My buddy got 204. So, yeah, he's right there in that 200 range.
Oh, he's a monster deer. Do you happen to remember any of the measurements off of his beams or anything?
I think the bases were, 7.5 bases, I think is what it is. It was, of course, when you're measuring that deer, you're just like, when you're writing down the numbers, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah,
while you're
absolutely.
you're like,
How many points was he?
17.
So that's 17 points.
Yeah, I you probably can't see it from the video, but there's a big kicker off the back of the brow tine on his left side, and kicker off that G2, and yeah, he's
Huge brow tine.
yeah, got stuff everywhere. Yeah, he's a monster.
yeah, that's nuts.
So how many deers Walter tracked for you?
3.
Yeah.
3.
2 bucks in a doe.
Yep.
What about you, Matt?
He has a tracked one for me. He tracked, yeah, knock on wood, knock on wood.
Yeah.
Tracked one for my brother back in, I think, 2015.
You guys were young.
Yeah, we were real young, and we tracked that deer, 400, 500 yards straight uphill, and I think the last speck of blood was at the top of the hill right there.
That was back in the cul-de-sac, wasn't it?
Yeah, he killed that. He shot it back in the back field, and that went all the way up on top of over towards actually their farm, and yeah, that's when you were like, he's alive. I think that was, what was that, Grizz? Was that Grizz track?
That would have been bear.
Bear. That was bear track.
Yeah, the shaggy one.
Yeah.
So you ended up killing that deer, didn't you?
No, so that deer was actually moose. So that deer, I think we got pictures of that deer in 2013, first time, and he was a 3.5-year-old 10-point. And 2015, he was probably 150-inch 10-point. He hit him, and then we didn't put 2 and 2 together. I kept on getting this big 10-point, wide 10-point, and then finally I had a perfect broadside picture of him, and I could see that bullet, that whole scar. I'm like, Garrett, that's definitely that deer.
Yeah.
And that deer made it. When did he get shot? Last year?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. That deer was probably 10 years old.
No kidding.
Well, yeah, it was 2021 because I was after that deer as well.
Yeah.
The year I shot that.
Yeah. So,
I had pictures of him on Halloween.
yeah. I mean, it's just an old brute, and he got shot. It was crazy. I've never seen a deer move like that deer. I had pictures of that deer in 2021 when he got shot. I had pictures of him the night before he got killed in our lower field, and he got shot the next day over on, how far do you think that was? I mean, from that lower field, 3 miles?
Probably.
3 miles away.
Really?
Maybe, yeah, the next day.
Wow.
4 miles away. I mean, I was,
During the rut.
no, pre-rut. I think it was October.
End of October.
Yeah. So, yeah, rut. But yeah, I couldn't believe it because he sent me that picture, and he was like, yeah, they killed a good one. And I looked at it, and I was like, hey, that's a pretty good buck. And I looked at it again. I was like, that's moose. I was like, holy crap. Yeah, I was like, wow, that's crazy. I thought, I actually hunted that deer that next morning when he showed up. And
Super 12 point at the end, wasn't it?
yeah, yep. Yeah, he was, mainframe 12 at the end.
I had to find those pictures.
I'm on my phone, yeah. But
So you shot this deer behind you?
Yes.
This big 7?
so that deer actually is, I think, how him and I became real good friends. Obviously, I knew, well, I think Garrett and I have been friends since, I can't even remember. And like Lee and you, like the first time we ever met was when we hunted out
Tracked to your deer
Yeah, yep.
when you're for your brother.
Yeah, and then we went and drove muzzler. See, he shot that coyote down next. Yep.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
And then with the old wolf CVA, everyone with the red dot on it. But and then we didn't really talk after that. And then I looked on Onyx. I realized we had like 3 acres up here above our neighborhood, and I was like, I think I could put a camera up there. I never thought about that, So I put a camera out in corn, and I didn't really have anything too big, but I just kept on putting corn. I was like, who knows? I had a bunch of does. Like I had like 12 does in there. And I was like, there's got to be a buck in here coming to check these does come rut. And sure enough, one day I went and checked the trail camera, not a cell cam. That deer showed up. And I was like, man, that's a nice looking like 7. I never killed a big 6 or 7. That'd be sweet. So I didn't even stand in there yet. I was like, I need to put a blind in there because I was like, I don't have any stands or anything. I got a spare blind in the garage. So I went and put a blind up, shaded it in real well, and went and hunted the morning after, or 2 mornings after I got that first picture of him. And nothing. I pulled the SD card again because I was so anxious. Like, oh, I wonder if he's still back. And he was there like 45 minutes before I got in line. I was like, oh, you probably said,
Is this the same one that did you have trail camera pictures of this deer too?
yeah,
Carolyn actually wounded it 2 years prior.
as an 8 point.
Yeah, as an 8 point.
Yeah,
And I tracked it all the way to the coal farm.
yeah.
And there was lung blood. We had started tracking it, and there was lung blood everywhere, so we backed out and waited till the next day. And the next morning, Hero Lee went in there with me, and we tracked it all the way to the coal farm, all the way. And there was lung blood all the way till almost to the coal farm, started up the hill towards the big field, and that's where we quit.
Yeah. Then, like, what was it?
No
So-
more pictures.
No more. No, which is crazy.
I did get pictures when it came back, and it had shed,
Okay. Yeah, okay. I didn't know that.
because there was I got wounded pictures of it.
And I don't even know how far his stand was across. How far do you think we were from each other?
150 yards.
Yeah. And the thing is he told me after I killed the dude, I was like, man, do you have a bunch of does over there? He's like, no. I was like, man,
It does.
I was like, I have 12 does.
3.
Yeah.
He get 12 in one picture.
Yeah. And his wife killed an 8 point that year.
Yeah.
That same year. And I passed him up the year before. He broke his G2 off, and I was like, that's going to be a giant next year.
Was it 2021?
Yep, 221. And I kept on seeing that deer that she shot in the bean field out here. And I was like, and I had corn, I had a camera, and I was like, he's not, like, why is he not coming across that holler?
Not getting
And
pictures.
he kept on sending me pictures of him. I'm like,
You could almost see, if you were standing at his corn pile, you could look across the hollow and probably see mine.
my corn, yeah,
If you knew where to look.
yeah. And I was like,
Those deer wouldn't, they just like, there's a magic line in the woods they just won't cross.
yeah,
When it comes to corn pile, 100 yards means everything.
yeah. That's what, because you never had pictures of that deer when I killed him.
I hadn't had pictures of him for months.
Yeah.
So when you shot him, could you see where his wife wounded it 2 years prior?
Yeah. She it perfect.
The scar,
Yeah. I don't know how I did. I mean,
perfect, right behind the shoulders.
Yeah. Well, like we say, those aren't always perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, look perfect.
Yeah, they look perfect. But yeah, he come in. I was actually, it's a cool story actually. I was in the blind and it was perfect morning. I forget when I killed. November 2nd actually. Real cold morning. went and sat in the blind, and I had a bunch of does, that group of 12 does come in, and I was like, he's got to be in here. He's got to be in here. And they all took off, and it hit about 9 o'clock. And a doe come up around my blind, and she is a little doe. She came out, she kept to the corn pile I was eating. She kept on like looking behind my blind. I was like, there's something back there. And then, you hear them big buck track, like that's stalk.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, so I started to shake. And then, he comes right around my blind. He was probably, I'd say max 5 yards when I saw him right next to my blind, just looking straight at her, And he come around and went around the corn pile, and there was a little buck probably 50 yards down below that corn pile. And that deer, that little buck was making his way up to that doe. And that, I've never seen it before. That deer got on his hind legs and just stomped. Oh, sorry. And that little buck just took off running. And I was like, of course, when he did that, I'm like, oh,
Gets even more excited.
yeah. I had my compound. He worked his way around that corn pile and just, I think he was 22 yards. And I just stuck him right behind the shoulder. He went 50 yards.
Yeah.
So, but then after that, I realized what was that close. So I was like, did you get a picture of this deer? And you were like, not for months. And I was like, he's been here for, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how we're that close and just,
Completely different deer.
yeah. Completely different deer.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know what he scored, but he was an old deer.
Yeah, he was a dandy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was a big-bodied deer.
Yeah.
Say he was a 8 when Carolyn.
He was an 8.
Do you think where she wounded him is what caused him to that one side? Just going downhill?
Yeah. He was
5-year-old when she shot him.
He was a beef. I remember we were hanging him up in my buddy's garage. I wish we had a scale. I'd like to buy a scale, start weighing our deer, but yeah, he was a beef when I.
Dude, I've never really cared about weighing a deer, and I shot that one this year, and I was like, I just knew it was big.
Yeah.
It's like, we got to weigh this
deer, yeah.
He was like 217 field dressed.
That's tank.
Yeah.
That's beef. Yeah. But yeah, it's his buck being right there makes all of our deer in here look like dags, but yeah. But
You say Bill Mason mounted your deer?
Yep. Boy.
Did a nice job with it.
Yep.
Who mounted your deer?
that was his name's Darren Howe. He was up off of State Route 26 up towards Monroe County. But yeah, he's actually done all these deer right here other than his. But yeah.
Who did your turkey?
So that one was Toy Sanford in Caldwell, and this one was RJ's taxidermy up there off of Archer's Fork.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, I've never mounted a turkey, but
yeah,
that'd be cool.
that was a double beard actually. That was my first double beard. I called it. Well, my dad called in 6 long beards, and he was the last one I saw him when he stopped putting. So I saw a double beard. I was like, that's the one right there. So, yeah.
Dude, well, remember when we did that turkey hunt giveaway and that kid came in from Pennsylvania with his dad and we go in?
Oh,
this
this big giant.
dude, this
It's amazing.
bird comes in and it was just a wild morning in Turkey Woods. But anyway, this kid comes from Pennsylvania and his dad was like, I want to go. So he's like sitting back with Walters. He's
I
calling.
never met him.
And I got this kid up there beside me and they're calling behind us and I got the camera and this big giant turkey comes in and he blasts it, triple beard, and like I'm like, holy moly.
We had set up on a turkey coming from in front of us, and when it come off the roost, it gobbled all the way around us. So we got up and we moved. And while we're getting up and moved, turkeys gobbled again, real close. So we got set up again, and before you knew it, we had 3 gobblers.
There was
coming in.
gobblers coming from every direction.
It was coming right down the trail behind us.
Trying to beat each other there.
He was shooting at that deer horns right there. It was close.
Oh yeah, that's
And it was a big giant double beard gobbler, bigger than anything we've killed.
Yeah.
that's a
We never met
It was,
him.
had a triple beard on it. Yeah.
Triple beard.
Triple
That's
beard.
Right. It was a
Yep.
giant bird. It was such a great hunt.
yeah. You can't beat holding up a big buck, but man, when it comes to tree hunting, you can't beat it. That's what I think. Every time him and I have gone, we've killed one together. Almost every time him and I have gone, we've killed a turkey together.
Dude, some of what would have been the best video footage I've ever had was me and Walter. And we're turkey hunting and he's sitting behind me and I set him up with a tripod and a camera.
And I set you up with my gun.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a
And he is not used to my gun, and
it was a double
I'm not used to
bead.
his camera.
There was a double bead sight on that shotgun, and I wasn't paying any attention to it. So he's sitting up behind me, and he's got the camera. I said, "You can turn the camera on, and when it goes to sleep, if you just push the record button, it'll come back on. But you got to push the record button again to make it record." So he's behind me. We're calling turkeys, and I'm set in front of
He
him.
was coming. It was gobbling.
Yeah.
good.
And then this coyote comes creeping in. We got a decoy out, and this coyote comes creeping in, jumps up on this log, sneaking across this log after this decoy.
Yeah.
You up
And I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. Boom! Blast the coyote,
15 yards.
and I just whiffed it. I don't know.
Shot right over top of it.
Yeah. So being the double bead, the small bead and big bead,
Yeah.
I just wasn't paying attention to it, and I just put the front bead on it.
And I'm right over his shoulder with the camera watching it, thinking, "Man, this is awesome. This is great. I got him missing."
Yeah. So I'm like, well, I missed, but at least we got this awesome footage of this coyote sneaking in on this decoy. I go back and he never hit
No,
record.
well,
Like, well, that was a bad mess up there.
That's like this coyote right here. It was my dad behind us, and me and my brother. Heck, I think Garrett was 14 and I was 12. Or no, if Garrett was 14, I was like 9. And I'm asleep. My dad's asleep. Decoy's out in front of us. And like as soon as I like wake up, I like to my right, I see a coyote, and he's on a dart. He picks that decoy up from the back of the tail, foam decoy, and my brother shoots it like 6 yards out right there. That's why we got him out. Yeah, that's
Pretty neat.
deep. Or that mouth's a little rough looking now, but but yeah,
Looks a little mangy.
yeah.
It'd be a good decoy.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's weird. Yeah, Eric, my brother and I, we were talking like, when you put that out there, there's some
Oh, it would work.
pee all over it. Yeah,
Yeah. Interesting. So, how many brothers you got?
I have 3 brothers.
Whole family hunt.
Yeah, my brother Adam, he's in the military, so he can't hunt as much, but whenever he's home, he'll hunt. But yeah, Garrett, Eric, and I that's all we do.
Yeah. What about you?
I have an older brother and a younger sister. So,
You the only hunter, or
my brother gun hunts.
yeah?
He used to bow hunt a little bit, but now he and I will just go out in gun season and hang out.
That's how. I mean, him and I never. I mean, we were so young, but him and my brother and Grant were best friends and started hunting together.
Yeah.
And then they went out, and him and I were at the house playing probably Xbox or something.
Yeah.
And my brother Garrett shot I don't have it out here. It's actually in the room back there, but he shot 135-inch 10-point with his compound. And we thought that was the biggest buck on the farm.
No, there were deer that big already.
Yeah. So we're like, holy crap, look at this thing, and then
You got to be kidding.
yeah, and after that, Garrett and I were like, we're gonna start hunting. So ever since then,
Oh man, there's big deer around here.
yeah.
We shoot on them.
We've killed a lot of deer together, turkey, coyotes, squirrels. We were hard on squirrels there for a while.
This muzzleloader, that was always
Oh, yeah.
good week.
Hard on the does on that muzzleloader season, yeah.
We have a great time doing the drives too.
Oh, yeah.
You guys do big drives every year.
Yeah, we probably get 10 people together. This year, we went and did that new farm, and that's the most deer I think we've ever, all day.
It was running everywhere.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
40 deer up in like one drive, it seemed like. It was just,
There was a buck come across.
yeah, 2 bucks that second drive, I guess, yeah, but the rest, that was the most does I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
That second drive, which nobody thought was going to be much woods, turned out to be a great drive.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's we got those 2 bucks up, and or 3 bucks up, and then you shot that down.
Yeah.
You were able to get bow on that one.
Yep.
Josh and I had
Does land within 20 feet of each other.
Really?
Yeah.
Down over.
Yeah.
Bang.
Grant shot one.
Yep. Yeah, we got.
several of them.
Yeah, I don't think we did a dent in that population either. Man,
Oh, no.
we went and coyote hunted out there for a tournament this past weekend, the Jurassic tournament. And me and my buddy Ty were going through up the road, and I think we counted like 42 does
Wow.
in the hayfield.
Wow.
That's just dark headlights, driving up the road. Who knows? I mean, it's,
A lot you didn't see there.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's bizarre how many does are out there.
Yeah, especially now. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's hayfield.
yeah,
It's really not a ton for them to
yeah. Cattle are in there; they don't care.
Yeah.
So you kill one this year yet?
No.
Well, I guess it's about over now. Yeah, a couple days.
Yeah,
Target deer got taken out in the beginning.
Yeah. I was after 2 this year, and both of them.
Both of them got taken out.
Yeah. Pretty early on, too.
Really?
I looked for another one, but I couldn't find anything.
and one of them was in the same spot as the 200 there.
Yeah.
Big, another
It
one.
was a big non-typical.
Yeah,
Had a big kicker. I saw it in velvet.
yeah. Well, yeah, because I remember actually, I think the first time I saw that deer, you didn't even know about it. I called it.
I started getting phone calls,
Yeah,
2 or 3 people, all in the matter of a week.
yeah,
They seen it?
Yeah.
yeah. My girlfriend and my really good buddy, we're up on Velvet in August. We just drive around, look at soybean fields, see what we can see just for fun and stuff. And we go up cross fording there and up the hill and look to the left, and I'm like, holy crap, that's a giant, he's big kicker off that right side.
Yeah,
I mean, of course, when he's running away from me,
it looks even bigger. Yeah.
jaws drop.
It had like 3 on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Look,
Yeah. So I call him. I think you were on a business trip. You were out of town. I'm like, Garrett, like, there's another 200 out here. And he's like, huh? I'm like, I just saw on the beach. He's like, holy crap. So I think you got back, started putting trail cameras out. And
it was like 180, wasn't it? 183 or something, didn't it?
I never saw a score.
I thought he was like
yeah.
Did you know who shot it?
Yeah, he was a guy that came down to hunt his brother's farm.
Eli tracked it with Grizz.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, went and found it.
Huh.
Yeah,
Giant.
like an hour away, and
That's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah. Can't kill them all.
It was one of his first bucks or biggest bucks.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
What about you, Matt?
yeah, I killed one. What was that? November 19th, I killed one. Actually, I wasn't going to kill. On trail cameras, he didn't look that big.
Cell cams. I kept telling him he's a dandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that buck's a dandy.
Yeah.
2 or 3 times you just acted like I wasn't
Yeah.
there. Man, you ought to go look at that deer.
Yeah.
Bought him stickers, didn't you?
Yeah, stickers, yeah. And I was like, man, that deer's going to be a giant next year. And Walt's like, that deer's a giant right now. You need to kill that deer. And I think I even called Garrett when he was velvet. I was like, yeah, we have a nice mule deer looking buck there on Cool Farm. It's like, it's going to be a good one here in a couple years. I mean, because really on cell cam, he didn't look that big. And on trail camera, he didn't look big at all.
I'd say he's 5.5. He could have been 4.5, but
Yeah.
man, I'd say he's probably
Yeah. Once I killed him, went up to him, I'm like, dang.
heavy duty.
Yeah, so that's a good story actually, because I mean I had them all velvet there on that farm, and he lost his arm, and I kind of stopped baiting there because I was chasing the other deer, and the other deer kind of just went inconsistent. I actually had 3 encounters with that other deer, and then he just went inconsistent, and so I was like, I'm gonna put another corn pile up there, and see if that deer moved back in, and nothing. I was like, man, I wonder where you went, and
Probably 3 weeks or
yeah, 3 weeks, nothing. It's right on the interstate. So I'm thinking maybe you got
Hit by a car.
maybe you got hit by a car or something. So I actually, it was November 10th. I left Nebraska to go deer hunt with a buddy, and we were gone for a week. And it hit, what was that? I think like Wednesday. And I checked my cell cam, and she's there. He's like daylight, 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, you kidding me?
And you're in Nebraska.
I'm in Nebraska, 19 hours away.
I ain't getting back.
Yeah, we're supposed to leave Saturday afternoon. So I told my buddy Boyd, I'm like, man, this deer shows back up. Like we're going to leave. But it got real windy in Nebraska, so we're going to leave it either way. Because I mean, I think it was blowing like 60-mile-an-hour winds, and yeah, it was rough. We were in a tent, so we rented a U-Haul. We rented a U-Haul trailer, and one night, like it mangled our tent. So him and I are blowing up the air mattress, and we're all snuggled into this little tiny U-Haul trailer. I'm like, I think we're like, it's time to go. So we head back. I think Thursday. It was Thursday morning, and we get back. We get back Friday. We stopped in Indianapolis and got a hotel, but we got back Friday, and I hunted. No, I got real tired. I was supposed to hunt. I told you I was gonna hunt Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And I slept right through my alarm. So then I hunted Saturday night. Didn't see him. Hunted.
Oh, just a doe.
Yeah, just a doe. Yeah, one doe. It was real. I think my wind was bad. It was swirling in there. It was pretty rough. And then Sunday morning I hunted again and seen a bunch of does. I actually seen them. I guess was that the morning I saw him cross in front of me. I texted you.
Up in the field?
Yeah.
Yeah. He came down in the field and
chasing a doe.
he was chasing a doe.
Yeah.
As you were like walking in, or
No, it's like late morning. I think like 10 o'clock.
But it's like November 1st or 2nd.
Yeah, this is a while before as soon as I got pictures of them. Because Nebraska was when I first got pictures of them.
Right.
So it was after Nebraska. It was right before I shot them.
Right.
And then that Sunday night, I went in there. It was perfect. Wind blowing. I mean, it was south wind blowing straight up the field. And I was like, and still at that point, I called Walt before I went in. He was like, just take a look at him. I was like, I don't know. Yeah.
And you got to go sit and look at that deer.
And because I didn't plan on killing this deer at all. And I didn't have any other buck really consistent. So I was like, all right, I'll go. I'm going to go. He's been daylighting. I'm going to go look at him. He got me pretty excited when I was in Nebraska because that wind was off. Really gave me a reason to leave.
Yeah.
And
this deer was your daylight deer.
yeah, he was the most consistent deer.
well, a big buck walks in and to look at.
Yeah,
Chances are
it's getting shot.
that's just a way to talk yourself into going in to shoot. you know?
Yeah. So I get up in the stand. It's perfect. I think as soon as I sat in the stand, this farm too has a ton of does, and I think there was like a group of 8 does come up over, and they're working. None of them went to the corn pile though. They're all working this big oak flat down below me, and they're all real timid. Those were, but my wind was perfect. I was like, there's no way they smell me. There's no way. I see a couple other bucks chasing me, bumping those does around, and they kind of went away. It just got real silent that last hour. Just nothing was moving. Not a squirrel, nothing. And I'm sitting there, I'm on my phone, I'm texting my buddy Ty, asked if he saw anything. And then again, I hear that real heavy stomps, real slow stomps. And I'm like, all right, it's definitely a deer. And I look down below me to my left, I just see trees moving. And I hear,
Making a rub?
Yeah, making a rub. And of course, now I start shaking, you know. And it's where that is. It's right above the interstate, and the sun was going out. It's glistening like he had real white horns, and he come probably 80 yards around that big oak flat. And of course, it felt like it was forever. He come around, he came straight up behind the corn pile. And I shot him, I think 21 yards, and he went 30 yards and died. I watched him fall.
Nice.
And I called him. I was like, dude, I'm about to fall out of the stand.
I can see.
Yeah.
Laying right there.
Yeah, and he just looked like when he came in, them big.
He's a giant.
Yeah, 11-inch twos, I think is what he had.
Boy.
Split brat. I mean, he looked like a mule deer.
It's not like the oxbow buck.
Yeah.
They're heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy. Yeah.
Split two, and then a dagger off his left two, and then
Is that your biggest deer?
Yep. Yeah. He was a good deer. That's why I called him, and I was like, dude, I killed a giant on the clip. So I was like, it's that one I told you I wasn't gonna kill. And he was like, yeah. So
If you
That's
pass a
sometimes-
deer like that, you won't kill very many.
no.
Sometimes they are just bigger than you think they are.
Yeah.
The deer I shot this year, when he walked in, he was kind of behind a tree, and I didn't realize it was that deer at first. And it wasn't even the deer I was actually like there to hunt, but I thought maybe I would shoot him. I knew he was probably 5.5 years old, and he looked like a 110-inch 8-point stand behind the tree. And as he stepped out behind the tree, I could see that long 4 on that one side. And I was like, well, wait, that's the deer. We called him Waldo because he was everywhere.
Yeah.
And I shot him, and I literally was thinking about it that morning. I'm like, hey, he might be 150 inches, maybe, you know. And then as soon as I walked up to him, I called Walter. I'm like,
Bigger.
he's a lot bigger than he's a lot bigger than what I thought. But he had one G3 on this side was 11 inches, and he had 3 times that were 10 inches. So
It's a lot like your deer.
Yeah.
It's just that heavy.
dude, he looks
Time.
a lot like that deer, really.
Hollywood. Yeah. Pretty mainframe cam. That deer's a good story about that deer too. That was actually probably the most consistent deer at our main farm that we've ever had. Because a lot of time there's a lot of pressure around.
Who killed that
My
one?
brother,
Your
Garrett,
brother
killed that
one.
deer.
Is that the military?
No, Garrett's the closest one to me.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and that deer, I think we had pictures of that deer for 4 years, and of course it's like one of those bucks that you get pictures of. You're like, that deer's gonna make a giant, and we have a lot of pressure around us, really. If you think about it, everyone hunts, and so we're like, man, I hope that deer doesn't die. I hope that deer doesn't die. In 2018, that deer showed up as a mainframe 11-point 160-inch deer, and him and I played the cat and mouse game forever. Like, I think I hunted that deer 2 weeks straight, because I was still in high school.
Yeah.
And so I'd get off school. I'd leave school. I went to Washington State for high school, and I'd get off around noon. I'd be in the stand, and he'd daylight every day. He daylighted, and I'd go hunt. He wouldn't daylight. But every day I wasn't in the stand, he'd be there. And then I'd hunt in the morning, and it's like I'd leave at 10:30, and at 11 o'clock that deer would be there. I was like, he's watching me. He's watching me get out. There's no way I'm gonna kill this deer. So I kind of just lost faith. And then he actually kind of disappeared come rut, and I didn't kill a deer that year. I don't think any of us, my brothers, killed a deer that year. Actually, no, my brother Eric, he killed a nice 9-point over in front of his house. But then 2019 comes. We knew he'd survive, because I actually put a dead deer out for coyotes, and that deer was right over in February, late February, and I was like, oh heck yeah, he lived. So 2019 comes around, and Garrett, Eric, and I are like, this is the deer we're gonna hunt. We're gonna try to kill this deer, and he didn't leave the farm really at all. That was weird come rut the year before when he left, because the year before that he never left. We thought he got shot. So me getting pictures of him in February really was a relief. But 2019 comes around, He was there, same thing, daylight. We hunt. He didn't show up. So we had I think we had 5 corn piles going on in our farm, seeing which one he wanted to go to the most. And it was the same spot that we kept on playing the cat and mouse game. We kind of just was like, screw it, this deer is too smart to hunt. We're going to try to find another one. And finally, I was hunting moose, actually. The moose showed up in the backfield, and Garrett was hunting behind a spot where you never would have thought, you never would have thought someone would have killed a deer at the spot.
That's where they get killed.
Yeah. And he put a blind there, he put a corn pile there. And the night before he killed him, my brother and I went and checked the trail camera. He's daylight. And Garrett didn't believe us, my brother. So I went and hunted moose down in the backfield, and I was like, Garrett, go hunt there, in the morning, because that's when he was daylighted. So he went and hunted that blind, and he didn't see a deer. He was like, you guys are lying to me. He's not here. I said, all right, I'll go hunt the blind tonight then. He's like, all right, never mind, I'll go hunt the blind. So he went and hunted the blind. I went back at the backfield to hunt moose, and sure enough,
He walked in, shot.
he got 20 yards, ran down the hill, and he's dead. I think he scored, 160, 162, Hollywood. I wish he was still a mainframe 11 point. He turned into a 10 point, 2019, but I think he was bigger. I was a 4.5-year-old.
Deer get killed in 2019?
Yes.
That one was?
Yeah, 2019, he killed that buck. Yeah. Those ones are fun when you have that much history of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I've got a few years with, but
Yeah.
it's hard. It's although it does suck, because sometimes I've had some where I've got 3 years, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna kill this deer no matter what, and then he gets whacked by somebody else.
So you're like, oh, man.
There went 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cars, definitely.
Highway gets them.
Yeah. That's,
When you think about it, all 3 of you guys are buddies and talk deer hunting all the time, and you guys all hunt property within the same kind of circle,
Yeah.
basically.
yeah. That deer he killed this year, I told him, because we knew there was a big drop time buck across the creek. I kept on telling you.
Yeah.
But we never had pictures of him. We knew there was a big one around by rumor, and but no picture. And then you got pictures of that deer, what?
October 31st,
Yeah, and then killed him.
November 2nd.
Yeah. And of course, he was the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I called him. Hey, man, you ain't going to believe it.
Yeah, I just saw a giant drop time buck. I'm like, huh?
I'm sending him pictures, and he's like, no way.
Yeah. So
You knew the deer just as soon as I said it.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you call him?
that's drop time buck from Dr. It was over across the recon.
Drop time.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with that?
Yeah. 10-inch drop time.
You had a name? Must have been the farm that he was on or something.
Oh, we were on the Duckworth farm. Duckworth, yeah. That's over that way. Yeah, they had them all velvet, because Dad actually sent me a picture of that deer, velvet. But yeah, we never saw him. Actually, it's because now I know what you're talking about. I was delivering a package over to Zimmer's, and he said they had a drop time. They seen it in the cornfield when they're picking corn or something like that, and that's when I told you.
Yeah.
And then that's when he told me I shot a big drop time buck. I'm like, it's that deer.
It's got to be that.
Gotta be that deer.
What year did that other drop time buck that you were hunting get killed? But it was it come off the base or something,
Yeah,
right?
it ended up scoring 158. It had about a 9 or 10 inch drop time on it.
Yeah.
Don't remember.
Was that the
year?
That was the year after you killed the barn buck.
It would have been 15 or 16.
That buck was a giant. That barn buck.
What year did you kill the barn buck?
14.
Are you sure?
12.
I think it was 12.
I killed Flyer in 14.
You killed Flyer in 14. Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's crazy too is that drop time buck he killed this year, the deer we thought he was last year, he didn't have drop time, nothing. He was a clean, heavy 9 point, 5-year-old.
Yeah, we thought he was 5 years
Just a big old bruiser 9. And
I'm sure that's him.
has to be. I mean,
Sure it is.
he comes out the same way.
Basically same frame.
Same frame, same.
Threw a 10-inch drop time.
Yeah, somehow just decided to throw a, yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
And you guys coyote hunt a bunch too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And you guys said you just were in a coyote tournament.
Me and my buddy my other buddy, we were in a tournament. We actually hunted around his farm. We didn't do good, but yeah, him and I have done a lot of coyoting together. We seem to do good around when they cut hay around there, around summertime. But yeah, we've done pretty good.
Yeah, I like fresh snow, fresh cut hay, and this time of year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coyote rut.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They're
You guys using thermals, infrareds?
yep,
or-
thermals.
What kind of thermals?
ATN.
TN.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Well,
I don't know nothing about it.
It's a 1.5 to 15. I believe it's a 640
Resolution, yeah.
Resolution.
His is nicer than mine.
So it's got a zoom.
Yeah, yeah. They zoom. It's pretty much a conventional
Scope.
What it functions like a conventional rifle scope, I would say. You can zoom it, focus,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Daylight.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because it goes off heat, so it doesn't matter, if you're daylight, night.
It's an actual thermal. It's not like AT&T's day night.
Yeah.
No,
It's like the infrared. I had one of those.
yeah, it actually goes off heat. So I mean, if we took it outside right now, there's a deer out there, you'd see it. It'd be white or black or
Yeah, and it'd be
Pretty much just the same.
And it's a 640.
640 resolution.
So that's what my drone was a 640.
40 resolution. Yeah,
they just released the new ATNs and they are pretty sweet.
yeah. What are they?
And they're
1,000?
pretty steep.
What resolution are they? They change the
1280.
Yeah.
Wow. So there's 640, and then there's another one that's like 7 something maybe.
They go.
It's like 384.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what it was, and then 640.
Yeah, they actually start 120. They go. The LTs are 120 resolution, and then 384, then 640, and then they just came out these new 1280s. I'd like to look through one of those, but you're looking at 10 grand right there.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, they were that bad. But
They're pretty expensive.
yeah.
How far can you see?
They have ratings for how far you can see versus how far you can identify. Well, there are 3 different criteria. It's detection, recognition, and identification, I believe, are the 3. So they'll tell you can detect something like 1,100 yards away, and you can recognize what it may be,
What kind of
like
animal it is?
Yeah.
species, whatever.
Yeah.
and it could be a raccoon or a coyote or a deer.
Yeah.
And they'll say, okay, you can do that from 700 yards. But then to identify, like if you want to pull it up and, I don't know, pick any animal, whatever it is, even obviously you wouldn't point a gun at your dog, but it's just hold there, like, is that my dog out there? That'll be your identification, which will be like a little less, like, I don't know, 400 or 500 yards.
Yeah. And you can tell it,
Wait.
and the resolution, you can tell, 640 to 384 is like mine.
Yeah,
His
it's
is
a bit
night.
different.
His is night to mine. Like if I have a coyote at 200 yards, I'm like, Garrett, is that a coyote? He's like, that's a coyote.
Right.
So yeah, it's crazy the difference, but
And what caliber guns you shooting?
I shoot a 224 Valkyrie.
I just shoot 5.56. Yeah.
224 Valkyrie. I don't even know if I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, it's a relatively new round. I believe Savage. I think Savage had a lot to do with that one because they offer several ARs and that.
That was my next question. Is both on AR platforms.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That 224 rip stuff. I mean, the coyotes he kills, it's like,
They tried to optimize 223 for longer range. But I want to say, just guessing, like 223 and 5.56 are effective to 600 yards. I don't know if they're talking supersonic. I would have to double check on that. But then 224 Valkyrie is supposed to stay supersonic or be effective to like 900 yards.
and he shoots suppressed too.
That was my next question. Anybody shooting suppressed?
Yeah.
Which my brother suppressed as well, and he's shooting an AR 243 platform.
So, how quiet is it suppressed? I mean, they're still pretty loud.
It's quiet.
Unless you're running subsonics.
It won't.
Quite ring your ears.
Yeah.
If you have hearing protection on. It's
Compared to mine, it's
Yeah.
it's night and day.
yeah, when you're
Well, I just had this conversation with somebody at work the other day. We were talking about suppressors. He was military, and another guy was sitting there. It didn't really know much about it, and I'm like, dude, it's not like Hollywood.
No.
You're not screwing on a suppressor and it being
It's not like the
essentially
video
dead quiet.
games.
No.
It's
unless you're shooting like a 300 blackout subsonic rounds. And then you can get really quiet. But beyond that, it's just noise dampening.
yeah. It definitely makes it nice that like if you're hunting someone else's land and their house is close or something.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's
Middle of the night.
yeah. Especially these tournaments, you're hunting weekends, 24 hour, all the way through the night. And you're hunting.
So what was the tournament that you just hunted?
We did the deer astic, and there were like 198 teams entered into it, and that's Ohio. I think the states were Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, West Virginia. It might have been Indiana. I think it was just West Virginia. I think there's 5 in Ohio.
So it's basically an open tournament.
Yeah,
You enter.
$40 a person, or $40 a person, $80 for 2. Yeah.
So does it just go off the amount of coyotes you shoot?
So-
Weight, size. What?
Yeah. So
My question is how do they all meet in one spot?
yeah. Yep. So you,
Where the Jurassic location
Yes.
normally is.
yeah. So it actually goes. There's pots that you can pay into. I think it was like $10 extra.
Side pots.
You can go into like the littlest dog, heaviest dog, most dogs. So yeah, I think the winner. I heard the winner is 20 dogs. Like they kill.
How much they win?
I'm not sure. I don't know what the price. We didn't go up to check. I wish we would have. But yeah, I think I
didn't know if they had like a guaranteed, like some are like guaranteed 10,000 off.
It was a
Based off a certain amount of entries, which
Yeah.
90 entries I'd say is going to pay out as much as they're going to pay.
I know it was a big prize. Yeah, I mean they were just handing out stuff that was really nice stuff anyway. So yeah, it was big, pretty big prize. They get pretty big. I know. I mean, there's a lot of, if you think about it, if you look into thermal hunting stuff, there's a bunch of coyote tournaments they put around.
A bunch, and I think the night vision infrared from a few years ago really started like kicking that off.
Yeah.
And now you're getting into the thermal stuff. Like,
Yeah,
man, thermal is changing everything with coyote hunting and drones and stuff.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's made a big difference.
yeah.
But it's definitely cool. I've never coyote hunted with thermal.
Yeah.
I had an ATN like day night a few years ago. That was kind of cool, but definitely not like the thermal. When I bought that thermal drone and put it up at night, I was like, holy,
It's a whole different game.
man.
Yeah, it's
You can find everything.
it's crazy because I remember him and I used to go out all the time with flat or the spotlights. I'd like to know how many coyotes we called in
And
never saw them.
And never saw 'em.
Yeah, because half the time around here, you're calling them in and they're coming behind you. It's like
If they don't look at you, you can't see.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
So what kind of calls are you using?
I run a Icotech. Bunch of guys run the Fox Pros. It's just, Icotech, Fox Pro, they're both really
Just a
calls.
reference thing. Yeah.
But most of the coyotes, I call them when we're hunting together. We just either do a Luna howl, like a female howl, or a male howl, and get them going. And then I'll throw on like I forget what it's called, uppercut on Icotech, and it's basically a male coyote attacking a pup.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, but they hate it. They're coming. That's a video that we sent you guys. It's like we actually went out to the point and looked over the hill, and we saw 5 dots over there, and I was like, we were like, I'm pretty sure those are coyotes. So I don't even think I howled, did I? I think I just put that uppercut on.
No, I set up looking this way, and you set up looking this way.
Yeah,
I think you were getting the call ready.
yeah,
And I saw way on out, probably 500-600 yards out, five signatures come running out of the woods and start swerving.
Is that the footage that's on here?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't catch that portion of it. I said, Matt, you aren't going to believe this. Get over here.
Yeah.
And he hit that call, and
Yeah, as soon as I think it was, I didn't even think I howled out. I think I just threw that uppercut on, and it wasn't what. They were 500 yards away, and they probably made it to us from 50 yards in 15 seconds. So, yeah, it was like they were in our laps quick. They were on a dead run.
Dude, have you ever seen them do it with the dogs?
Yeah,
yeah.
Dude, that would be so much fun.
Yeah.
Where they get those dogs to go run them, and then the coyotes chase them back, and they just chase them right to them.
Yeah.
They shoot them at like 20 yards.
we were up at the AEP.
So this is the footage that
Yeah.
you're just talking about.
yeah, this is the footage here.
How far are they away here?
At this point, they're probably 100 yards out, I would say.
And you've been calling for a minute or something?
No, and
1, 2, 3,
5 of them.
5 of them come running.
Which he hits this one, and you see the guts kind of come out when he hits.
So you shot first, Garrett?
Yeah, he hits both of them. Boom.
Boom, rolled that
Nice
thing
shot.
running. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, that's awesome. So, and this is pitch black dark.
Yeah.
yeah.
This is like 12:31 a.m. Yeah. Yep.
Well, I don't know
If that time's right.
Timestamp are entirely
accurate. That's the other thing. About 54 yards. Those scopes have a range.
A rangefinder,
But I figured it out like the first night I got it and ranged something at 54 yards. And I've never mess with it again. So every time I pull it out,
It still says 54 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anything about these ATNs in their rangefinder built in, but like some of these drones have laser rangefinders in them, and they are like pinpoint.
Yeah.
Like up in the sky, down to there, 642 and a half yards, like whatever. It's wild.
It's crazy too. Like since we bought our thermals now, like till this day, the thermals that are coming out, I mean, it's insane. Like we were just talking about the 12As. I know IRA just came out with one, and it literally looks like, I mean, you can see a coyote 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
It's like unreal.
Well, the evolution of it over the next couple years is going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But the good thing is it'll also bring prices down. On good stuff.
You can already kind of tell on, I mean, I don't know how much you spend on your thermal, but I mean, I know the ATN throw 4s, they've came down pretty good amount.
They're like, I mean, any good thermal is going to be what, that $3,000 range?
Yeah,
I think the Thor 4s are still
Right around there.
Yeah, and anything. I mean, them 640. If you're running the 640 resolution, you're paying about $3,000.
Yeah.
I think the Thor 5s, I was looking at them not too long ago, that I think you can get into a Thor 5 with lower resolution around that $3,000, but to get up to the 1280 resolution, I heard
6, 7
more
more.
something right around.
I was looking at him today. Actually, a buddy at work was telling me he has an IRA, and he was showing me the videos of him shooting. I'm like, that. I mean, this is crazy how clear it is.
Yeah, I got another buddy that's real big into it, and he just bought one, but I don't know what it was. But it wasn't an ATN, so
Yeah,
I don't know what another big name is.
There's
Pulsar, IRA, ATN. Trijicon has one. I know Sightmark has one. There's one that's, I forget. Bearing Optics has one. There's a bunch of brands that make thermals. It's just,
Was there another Yodi footage on here?
I think that
No,
was
that
the
was
last one. Yeah,
I got you.
we have a bunch more, but it's kind of grainy. It was foggy that night. It's weird how they play off the weather too. If it's real humid,
Yeah, humidity is actually humidity is about the worst thing you can try to use one of those
yeah.
Of the thermal, I think, is it the whole
on a
trying to pick up everything.
on a real hot, humid June evening. You won't cut through, I don't know, like 200 yards.
If that, yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
Well, I know, like the thermal drone when I was flying it, midday, like a warm day, like 60, 70 degrees, so much harder to pinpoint like a deer or something versus like nighttime especially.
Yeah.
Are you doing deer recovery with that? Or?
Yeah, I found a couple with it. I really just bought it just to play with it.
Yeah.
Kind of I thought like we would use it with the dog and stuff, but then all these rules and laws kind of stop you. You can't do the dog and the drone at the same time, and
That'd be cool.
Yeah, so and I didn't buy like Matrice 30T. I bought an Altel. It was decent, but I already got rid of it. If I was gonna buy another one, I'd buy a Matrice 30 probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll see where all the rules and laws go over the next couple of years. It's just kind of dicey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I mean,
I guess I can understand why. Or
You have a drone, don't you?
kind of. Well, not anymore now.
Got rid of it.
No.
You had it just for taking pictures of the arms and stuff.
Yeah. It was a
Mavic,
DJI.
DJI Mavic.
Yep.
I had one of those. I've flown drones for a long time. I used to do a bunch of like video stuff and always flew them, but that was the first thermal drone I've had. But States are just
Was
weird.
that made by DJI? Or?
No, the one that I bought was an Altel.
Oh, Altel's the
Yeah.
manufacturer. Okay.
Yeah, Altel's manufacturer is a 640T, is what it was. But it was good at nighttime. Like in daytime, you could find them, but the biggest difference between it and like the DJI, like Matrice, was the zoom.
I gotcha.
So yeah, it only had like a 6 power or 8 power like optical. Anything past that, it was get really, really grainy.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely see people calling and taking advantage of them drones that, like you said, with the laws and stuff coming out. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, not only that, I mean, you got to have a Part 107.
Yeah.
So you got to have the commercial drone license to even be able to go charge anybody to do it. You know what I
Really?
mean? Because you got to have that to be able to make money with it.
Yeah.
And it's not real easy and real quick to get. So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are just winging it.
Yeah.
But the problem is anything that's aerial like that, if you get busted, it can be a lot of money.
Yeah.
Big
Probably not worth
big
it.
violations, and it's kind of like suppressed and automatic weapons. You know,
Yeah.
like you make a screw up that you don't even realize you're doing and get fined
Yeah.
20 grand.
Yeah. That's crazy.
The risk reward thing.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see where it goes, because a lot of people are buying the lower end DJI, which is a Mavic thermal, and you can get those for like $6,000, and they still have like a 200 zoom, and they're pretty good unit. First 10, 12, 15,000 for a setup matrice. But a lot of people using them to scout deer. They're doing like herd numbers. I don't know if you've ever watched that on YouTube. So there's one company that does it. They're pretty big with it. They'll bring 2 or 3 of these matrices, and let's say you got 1,000 acres. And they'll wait till after deer season, where there's no cover on the trees, cold as could be, and they'll spend the day flying your property, and they'll show you every deer on it.
Wow.
Basically. And they'll zoom in and be like, well, he's still got antlers, or doesn't have antlers. It's a buck, that's a doe. And then they take all this information and they say, all right, your 1,000 acres has this many deer on it that we can find, which then in the perfect scenarios, they find most of them.
Yeah.
And we found this many bucks, this many does. Here's your ratio. Yeah.
And that heck, when you're looking at that, you're like, oh, well, that's a good betting spot. That's,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
October comes and you wonder where all them deer were
yeah.
on that
Yeah.
footage.
yeah, it's
Going to have to wait till March to get up.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, obviously, you're doing it late season. Deer in different patterns, late year, first whatever. But it gives you an idea what's there. Like
Yeah.
I watched that YouTube video, and it was, I don't know, an hour long probably, and they're literally like, oh, look at that buck, and the guy's like, oh yeah, that's that deer, and that's that deer, and I'm like, well, all right, well, we spent 3 hours and 1,200 acres. You had 89 deer that we could find, and 22 of them were bucks, and the rest of them does. You got
Yeah.
and it's
Toby said it took him a whole 30 seconds to find that bedded buck and then to find that bedded coyote.
yeah, dude. And when I bought mine, like, I got home, it was dark. I opened it up, I set it up, I set it in my yard. I took off, and in seconds, I was looking at deer.
Man.
Just like, holy cow. Like,
Yeah. Talk about coyote hunting. That'd be sweet to get one of them things in the air while you're coyote hunting, watching them, like, an aerial view, them things coming in
The problem with Ohio is you can't do it because
while you're hunting.
yeah. Now,
But you could sit at the house, go find them.
oh yeah. There's nothing stopping you from flying it and looking.
Yeah.
You know what I
See
mean?
them coyotes at nighttime in them fields.
Yeah. The next time I had a 200 incher walking around, I would be buying another drone.
Trying to find that thing.
Like, where are you at today?
Yeah, even for turkey. I mean, heck, you only need thermal, fly around. See, turkeys are in the field.
Well, I wonder what the law with it would be, because you can use electronic calls in Ohio to coyote hunt.
Coyote hunt. Yeah, no turkey, nothing else.
Well, so that's like what their complaint with the drones is. It's using electronics if you're flying it.
I
If you had
gotcha.
somebody in the woods with a weapon.
I got you.
Yeah. But I don't know if it would stop you from coyote hunting. I don't know what the electronic law difference is.
Yeah. Huh.
Plus, nobody likes coyotes anyway, so
Yeah.
they probably wouldn't care.
Take care of them all. Yeah.
But like, my first thought when I got the drone was like, dude, you imagine Walter in the woods with a dog, me with a drone up above him being like, there's a deer 20 yards in front of you bedded down, like that's him.
Yeah.
But you can't do it.
Yeah. And it even helped, that deer jumped up. It's, stop tracking or, don't push it because, that'd be sweet.
But there are some southern states, and there's some YouTube videos of this. This one guy shows up, and this girl shows up with, she's got 4 dogs, I think, and they can run them off leash down there. And they're tracking this deer, and the guy's sitting there with his drone flying above them, and he's like covering ground as the dogs, and he's like, all right, deer's over here, like dogs are on the right track. And then
That'd be sweet to watch.
yeah,
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't do it here, or it would be a lot more fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
That'd be crazy. Just
I'd
watch
get some bigger dogs.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. And now you got people complaining because your neighbor's got a drone flying over his property and scaring deer and bumping off corn piles allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think about it. If I'm sitting in my tree stand and all of a sudden there's something buzzing over my head, and I'm like,
Really?
Well, if we got to get permission to go look for the deer from the landowner, I almost feel like the drone should have to get permission to go look from the landowner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, I just don't know how you enforce it.
that'd be a tough one.
Because in the state of Ohio, there's no air rights like on land like in big cities. So the state owns the air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're not trespassing.
You're not trespassing. Yeah. I don't know. It'd be hard to stop.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? Because property boundaries, like you're walking. All right, you know when you're on your property and you come to the fence, it's somebody else's. When you're flying, dude, if you've flown a drone, you know, you get 300-400 feet in the air, you can see so much farther than what you what you notice. You know what I mean? Like, and as you might fly, say 500 feet, but you're covering like an eighth of a mile, quarter of a mile in from the aerial view of it.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Yeah. I would never have thought back then that they'd be tracking deer with thermal drones.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that 17 years ago, Walter wounds a deer and then starts training his Jack Russell to find him because he never wants to lose another one. And you fast forward, and now we got
On your farm.
Yeah.
yeah, the doghouse.
The dog. So which buck was that?
Would have been big 165,
It was a
5-10 point that I never found.
Oh, you didn't find him.
Didn't find it. No,
So how many deer have you killed up there?
5 over 150.
And you were telling me how many deer you find. So I don't know if you told the story about you shooting that deer and then you wounding it and you finding all them deer dead on the interstate.
Yeah, I found 5 of them dead.
oh yeah, that was the 160,
came
and I came and got it up over the guardrail. Yeah, that was 2 days after you shot it.
Yeah, I'd seen it. Let's see, I'd seen it 2 weeks prior. It had came over the hill.
Yep.
And within 20 yards, and when it stopped, all I could see was its brow tines. And they weren't quite as big as those brow tines, but the brow tines were bigger than any deer I had ever killed.
Yeah.
So I got the full draw,
Mind you, his biggest deer to that point's 134-inch 10-point.
Yeah.
but I got the full draw, and he was standing behind a tree, and he turned and went right back up over the hill. So I don't know, 4 or 5 nights later, I had hunted till dark, and when I came out, just as I got to the top of the hill, I turned the corner, and there he was at like 6-7 yards. But he was eyeball to eyeball in the dark, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and he turned to run off. Well, like 2 weeks went by, and I had moved stands, moved everything, because I hadn't been seeing him. No cameras, nothing on camera. So right at dark, he came by. He come by from the side I'd originally seen him on. He crossed the power line, came right by me at like 36 yards, and I shot right in front of him. Man, I missed it. I shot just right in front. It was perfect up and down. It was just in front. So the next day, I get in there. It's before daylight, and I'm walking down to my stand, and there's a blob in the tree. And I thought, man, what is that? Something just catches your eye, and it was a guy and a climber climbing the tree. I was fighting mad.
Oh boy.
I went to his tree, and I was fighting mad. He knew he was fighting mad. He didn't have permission to be in there, so I waited till he climbed down, and I chewed him. Well, he's left.
Where'd he come from? He
Right straight down the hollow from the highway.
he come in from the highway.
Right where the deer is coming from and going to. He walked right through the middle of it.
He park on the highway?
I don't even know where he parked. He said he come from the development, so he came from probably parked over by the rest
that rest area. You kind of walked in.
Basically over by the rest area where you shot flyer.
So
down there.
he leaves and walks right down the hollow. So I'm thinking, I got to leave. I got to go. This is the rut. This is the time. It's November 6th. So I drive all the way to Cutler, and we got a lease. The first spot on the lease, there's 2 trucks parked at the gate. So I go to the next spot, and there's 2 more trucks parked at the gate. And they're all buddies, we're all friends. But it's just kind of crowded. So I go to the last spot, and somebody was hunting there. And I thought, if I'm going to hunt where people are,
Might as well go back to where the big deer is.
back where I know there's one. So I drove all the way back. I climb up in the tree at 11 o'clock. And I'm fighting mad. Oh, just ruined. Days ruined.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and I can remember it sounded like a squirrel just off to my side. And I turned around, there he was, standing right where I missed him the night before, 36 yards.
At noon. Like,
Like 11:30. I'd only been treated like a half hour, and I can't get the bow. So I grab he takes off over the hill, so I grab my video camera, and I'm shaking so bad you can barely see the footage, you know. And he goes off the hill, and biggest buck I'd ever seen at that time, you know. I told Josh, I went and showed the video to Josh, and I told him, I said, I missed him the night before, just before dark. I seen him today at noon. I said, I'm going to kill him tomorrow at daylight. So the next morning, I get in there before daylight, and I sat there probably an hour or so. I remember the sun coming up, and I looked down that hollow right where that guy had walked. I could see 250, 300 yards down that hollow, and here come a doe, and he was right behind her. And there's like 3 or 4 little ridges that lead down to that creek, and he could have took any of those ridges, and they kind of disappeared down the creek, and they popped up right on my ridge, coming right at me. And I can remember he's coming, and I was ranging him. He's like 52 yards, 50 yards, 48 yards, and he's going to walk by, and that's as close as he's going to get, like 46 yards. So I yelled at, or I grunted at him. Nothing happened. So I grunted a little louder, and nothing happened. I remember yelling as loud as I could.
Get him to stop.
He would never even look my way.
What were you using?
Compound.
So Thunderheads.
Yeah.
So I shot at him,
The old one.
and I hit him right through the neck. And he spun around and stopped down there at 52 yards, and I shot him again, and I hit him in the guts. And he ran down there about 80 yards and stopped and stood there, and I could just remember that rack.
He gets his camera out and he's videoing, and this is like back in the day of like cassette tapes, like in a video camera, 2007.
Yeah.
And
I was shaking so bad, I can remember setting the camera on the limb, trying to video. I was shaking, and I think I shook for 2 weeks from the first time I seen the deer till now. I don't think I quit shaking. And I videoed him for 35 minutes. I can remember calling Josh from the phone and saying, Josh, he's standing right in front of me. He's like, well, go shoot him. I said, it's too crunchy. It's too loud. I can't get near him.
the crazy thing is he hits him through the neck. And so that deer is literally just sitting there with his head down.
And I hit him in the guts.
And you can see the blood just pouring out of it. Just for 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
It sat there.
He would look up every once in a while and just look back down. So he went off the hill and up the other side out of sight. So I went back home and I got Josh. And I said, Josh, come with me. We waited maybe 2 or 3 hours, and we started tracking, and the track wasn't very good. There wasn't much blood, and it's headed right up into them cedars, up into that, always one of the boys, into that bedding area. And I can remember when we got out of the truck, Josh's bow was there, and he got out without his bow. I said, well, grab your bow. He said, well, I don't want to shoot your deer. I said, well, if anybody shoots my deer, I'd much rather you be the one.
Yeah.
I said, grab your bow. So we went up to where we'd last found blood, and he went up the hill a little ways from me, probably 50 yards or so. We're easing out through there, and all at once I heard whack, and I look up, and here comes that buck running right at me. I mean, it almost runs me clear over, and it heads right for the highway, and right behind it is Josh. He's like, we got him now. He says, I walked right up to him and shot him laying in his bed. I shot him right through the front, right down through the shoulder blades, you know. He said it had to come out his chest, a heart-lung shot, you know, so we wait a minute, sit there and talk, and we start tracking, and there just ain't no more blood. There's still no blood. It's Josh, something's wrong. It's just not the shot you thought it was. Something's wrong. So we left. And I come back the next day, and I climb up in the tree stand where I had originally seen him across the power line, because that's the area he was headed towards. And it gets daylight, and I'm sitting there probably 35 minutes after daylight looking, you know, and I'm looking, and I look down towards the highway, and I can see a dead deer. I get my binoculars out, and I can see a rack. Oh, that's got to be him. So I bail out of the tree, and I take off running down there, and I get down there, and it's a clean 10. It's not him. It's
Nice 10.
nice 10, hit by a car. So, you know, highest of highs and the lowest of lows again. So I take off, and I start go back to where Josh and I had quit. And I start tracking, and there's just a spot of blood, and then nothing. And I know it's headed up along the interstate, but the trails are so tight and brushy, there's only kind of one way it could go. And I look down, and oh my goodness, there's fur. I was running down there, and there's a dead doe. man, you know. I no more than look at that doe and I ease up there. I didn't go 20 yards. There's a leg. I went running up there and there's another dead doe. And that happened. I found 5 dead deer that day. That
All right off the high.
all within like 150 yards of a track, you know.
Yeah.
Just got straight on how many get hit.
By that car. And I can remember thinking, man. And I come around the corner, I look up and there's a leg. And I'm thinking,
Here we go again.
come around the corner and there he lays. You know, he's got 161 inches. He's only 14 inches wide. He's got 13-inch 2s and 3s, clean 7-point, and back to the highest.
Oh, yeah.
You know. So where Josh had hit him was in the tenderloin. He'd actually shot him this way. We thought he'd shot him from the back to the front, but it actually shot him from the neck or from the front to the back, you know,
Just right down the tent.
right down the tenderloin.
Oh,
So it didn't help any.
yeah.
You know, but man.
What's like you and I have lost. I mean, before I shot that 7-point, we had that nice 8-point mule deer looking buck.
Yeah.
Then I was like, that's gonna be a giant. And then after I killed that deer, we were like, do you have pictures of this deer? And you're like, yeah, what happened to it? And then I remember you actually saying that you saw a deer down next to the rest area with his head cut off.
Yeah.
And I
It
just
had
said
to be the same.
it had to have been that buck. 'Cause I mean, he disappeared same time. Yeah. So I'd say he got hit by a car. That deer was a giant.
Well, I mean, that's a really bad spot for him to get whacked.
Yeah.
7 one week in November one time.
Yeah, didn't you had a young deer in there that had a drop tine on it,
Clean 10.
but and a bunch of kickers.
He ended up being a 15-point.
Yeah,
next
15
year.
point the next year,
Passed
like
him up.
a 3.5-year-old deer, and
He got hit by the highway.
got hit by the highway. Yeah. Would have been a mega giant another year or two.
Matter of fact, I had another one that was, I don't know, it had 16 or 17 points. It was a 3.5-year-old deer, but the morning I killed the barn buck, and it was raining, and my 22 yards is where my corn pile is every time, but I was up that real tall tree, and it was raining, and I went in an hour and a half early, you know, and I can remember going down to my tree with my flashlight, and I looked up, and that non-typical standing there 22 yards looking the other way. I just shut my light off, climbed my tree, and when it got daylight, and he'd been there for an hour and a half, he sat there the whole time, and the barn buck walked right in.
Yeah.
That deer was 22 yards when I climbed in my tree, and he never looked.
It was still there.
Crazy.
Did you guys ever see the barn buck?
I saw your whole collection one day. I can't.
We'll have to find a picture of that thing in velvet.
Is that the
1.25-inch GT.
you have it on your face? Yeah, you have it on face. You should.
Yeah, I got
That's the buck that you have mounted at your house right there, or across from Flyer, right? Real tall.
No,
What
He
deer
was
is
in the
that?
corner. That's Caroline's right across from Flyer. The real tall one in the corner
is the 161 the 11.
Oh, okay.
The barn buck, man, he sent me pictures of that thing in velvet, and it looks 180 inches. Yeah, it's a monster.
My oldest boy and me, we pulled up there to the barn to put out corn for the first time. And we pulled up and parked right in front of the barn there. And holy cow, that deer come running
Come out of the barn.
and runs around the corner, and it misses the front of the bumper by 15 feet, 10 feet. I mean, it runs right at my truck and runs around the corner. Eli was probably, I don't know, 10 years old.
Well, that's been 12 years ago. 11 years ago.
He was 11, and he looked at me, eyes that great big around. He just pointed. So we grabbed the corn, and we go walking in, because it's an old corn pile, but we just hadn't had it baited that year. We go walking in. When we get there, he's standing there looking at us. So he runs up on the hill. We dump corn.
Teasing you.
I had pictures of him that day, that very day, and then he stayed. You know, it was in the velvet. And I never have a buck in there until the rut. It's always Halloween.
October 30th.
Always Halloween before you get a buck in there, and he was there in the velvet. Yeah,
Now, Pretty Boy wasn't there. Color buck. Yeah. That was the last year. Last year you killed it, Cutler.
probably. Yeah,
And then there was
and his nickname was Pretty Boy. But when Bill Mason mounted him, he called me and he said, "Hey, I just wanted to call and tell you I might have mounted the prettiest deer I've ever, prettiest whitetail I've ever mounted."
Yeah. Dude, he's a beautiful deer, and in the trail camera pictures, he looks like 160 inches, 170 inches, but he was 140. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I didn't want to shoot him when he came in, but I also knew that I couldn't
Yeah,
pass him by.
same as that. That's like some deer look small on trail camera, you shoot them, they're giant. And some look giant on trail camera, you shoot them, you're like, well, he was I thought he was, but
Yep, some of them are deceiving. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
That's right. Yeah. I owe most of my deer to Garrett.
It's such a small parcel, and it's
Well, Lee Rogers, my buddy hero that I still worked for, used to work for your family.
Yep.
And that's how I met you guys. And
Long time ago.
we had the lease with Lee.
Yep.
And that's, my deer back then were always, I'd say, hey, man, I seen this big buck. He'd say, well, it lives over here, and he'd always help me put it together, and I'd end up killing that deer. So I remember one day he dropped me off at the doghouse. He was going to hunt the lower Albert Ray.
Yep.
And he pulled in that driveway, and he dropped me off. He says, good luck, there's big bucks here. And that was the beginning.
So there was the 161 that you killed, and then the very next year you wounded the 160s that just disappeared, never came back.
Yep.
And that's what got you started on the deer tracking. And then there wasn't anything for a couple of years, right?
Right.
And then it would have been
Big 9.
the big 9 got hit by a car but lived.
Base is the size of a beer can.
Another same thing. It's like trail camera pictures, 130-inch deer. You're thinking, and then he shot it and he brought it to him like, holy cow, 160 inches.
You got the big 9. He said, you did? I said, yeah, he's huge. He said, well, it can't be the 9. I said, yeah, I'm telling you, you got to come see it.
Yep.
Base is the size of beer cans. He said, it can't be the 9.
I mean,
It's the 9.
Flyer was after that, right?
No, and the barn buck was after that, and then flyer.
And the big 9, I think, is Flyer's dad.
Yeah,
I remember.
same type like shape. Yeah, just not as big.
I remember. Well, the guy that has the pond.
Yes.
The church Flyer would be back next to it. He'd drink out of his old swimming pool.
So he stopped by the year before I killed the big 9. It was a big 8. And he said, are you hunting here? I said, yeah. He says, well, there's an 8-point in my yard last night. He said, it's this big. And he said, it hit a spike in the side and almost picked it up over my fence. And the very next year I killed it.
Yeah.
It was
He-
giant.
And he has. I mean, he showed me before we watched Flyer, and that Flyer was in that field all the time.
Yeah. Keith Snyder.
You seen flyer the year he killed it?
He was going on the bus or something.
Yeah, I was like elementary school.
Yeah.
And I was on a school bus.
I would have been like, bus driver, you're gonna stop this bus. I'm going home.
Keith would call me and be like, hey, man, I just seen that deer again.
He's on the
Yeah.
field all the time.
Yeah.
Right in front of the doghouse.
Yeah, Dad goes to work, and he'd call us when we'd have cell phones up. He'd call the house and be like, get the boys in the car, go look at that big buck. He's out there. So Mom would throw us the car and go, we'd look at it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Mr. Lane, the guy that has that pond, I don't know how many pictures he has. I don't know if he's still, I'd like to go talk to him, see if he still has his picture.
That would be cool.
But, I mean, that deer would hop that fence. And of course, there's a nice pond right out in front of his yard that you could drink out of. This is old swimming pool would be out in back. He'd hop the fence and drink out of that swimming pool.
The driver, Keith, would see it.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
And he had I bet 50 pictures of that deer.
And I wouldn't get a picture for weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think Keith had seen it a bunch of times before you ever got the first picture.
I got pictures early,
Early.
and then I didn't get no pictures for a long time.
I thought the first.
He did see it and tell me about it before I ever got a. He told me it was an 8-point too.
Yeah.
Because remember
Yep. The
Yeah, crab claws.
you can barely see him when he's looking right at it.
As a giant deer. What'd he score?
181. Well,
Mainframe.
Toby scored him 177.
6.8s or something like that.
Mainframe town.
Yeah.
He's 180 when we scored him.
He's number 2.
At the time, a year or two ago, and we didn't need to update it, but it was number 2 clean 10 typical in Ohio with a muzzleloader.
He got 12.5-inch 2s and 3s.
Well, I remember going to your house and seeing him for the first time on the wall. And I was like, holy crap.
I always describe that deer. I'm like, whenever you see a deer and you're talking to your buddies, you're like, dude, it was this big. Like that deer, that's that deer. I mean, he's literally that big. He's 28-inch beams and he's 22 inches wide. Like, that's what he is.
He was huge. Heavy, unbreakable.
I will forever regret not sending a cameraman with you that night.
All did.
So I had some buddies that had a TV show and they were all in hunting with us. And like, so I'm taking them places and I'm filming and they got their camera guys and he calls me. He's like, hey, send one of them cameramen with me. I'm killing that deer tonight. I'm like, I would if I could, man, but like we're kind of like occupied, and then none of us seen anything, none of us killed anything, and he killed that deer.
Well, I'm at Walmart.
Well,
You met
the hotel.
Or the hotel.
I'm at the hotel by Bob Evans.
It's not usually good. That's like him and I turkey hunting on Sherwood 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I had my tact cam underneath my 20 gauge.
That new 20.
Yeah, the new 20 gauge, and I don't know. I had that tact cam on my gun all the time, and I'd never hit it one time.
Yep.
When them turkeys are coming in, I'm in kill mode. I don't
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever like solo film anything like deer hunting wise, but it's hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna try start. I know me and my buddy Ty, we've tried, on does and stuff, but like I said, when you get a big buck coming in, you're like, it's the last thing I'm thinking about.
I'll tell you what's been harder is after you get the footage, making it into something you can view.
Yeah, I don't know how to edit.
Yeah.
Oh, I can edit. I'm good at that. But the filming it's just, dude, I did it for years and years. Like I wouldn't even go into the woods unless I had camera, like everything. And lost a lot of big deer
Yeah.
trying to film them and not being able to, not shooting them because of it.
Yeah. I mean, you and I hunt. We had videos of all the stuff we'd have some good TV hunts together.
Right.
Yeah. But which is cool with the ATNs. Like, I don't know, I don't know, do you have to hit a button or does it record as soon as you shoot?
It records off a recoil.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, it's
Well,
recoil activated video, I believe.
so what it is it's always recording and overlapping itself.
Okay.
That way, whenever the recoil trips it, it probably
Saves
it probably backs up 5 or 10 seconds prior to that and records it.
Yeah, because you have to tune the scope to your recoil.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the setup, you go in there, and it was like 3 shots where you when it feels it, then okay, do it again, and
It's probably it might be 30 seconds before like.
Yeah. I think it's 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
you can change like 5.
So you turn it on and it's technically always recording. And as soon as it feels that recoil, it backs up,
Sends it to your phone.
Yep.
Sends it to your eye. Yeah.
Yeah.
which makes it nice for you don't ever forget to hit record.
Yeah. Which I know a lot of guys, which there's AT&T 4Ks, they're putting, which they do the same recording stuff, they're putting them on their deer guys and crossbows so they can record back to when
Yeah.
they shoot deer.
Well, that's what mine was. It was the day night 4K whatever, and I put it on the AR and deer hunted with it, and you can record and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like late season. I was hunting and literally just videoed the deer walking in with it. Like
Yeah. It's pretty sweet. I mean, I thought about it for a crossbow or something like that. You go back and film your hunt and you don't even film and you're just using it through your scope.
I'm sure the thermals are the same way, but that ATN I had, you could calibrate it for different velocities, different whatever, and you could just pull it off one gun to the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I got guys that, I know guys that they'll take their scopes off of, you say they want to hunt with AR one night, a bolt gun the next night, they'll quick attach it, put the thermal on the next
and
one.
it's dead on.
Zeroed. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, they're literally different gun profiles. So it's be like,
Yeah.
24 and whatever.
Yeah.
Switch it right over.
308. Yeah. It's crazy. So.
The does yours have a zoom that you can see like when you're like looking through the scope?
It has a knob that
You can zoom in.
just
Yeah, you just reach up there.
Yeah,
can feel it.
I gotcha. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Any more plans to do some coyote hunting soon?
That's usually we usually decide the night before.
Just on a whim?
Yeah, where it's like I'm at work or something, he texts me, he's like, what kind of hunt tomorrow night? I'm like, sure,
Can you hunt at night during deer season in Ohio for coyotes?
I
Don't
during gun
think-
Not during guns.
Not during gun
season.
But bow season stuff, yeah.
Gotcha. So West Virginia, and they've kind of changed it, so I might be wrong about this. For a while, you couldn't do it at all during deer season after dark, and then now they've changed it. You can, but you have to call the DNR, I guess, and be like, "Hey, I'm coyote hunting tonight until deer season's over." But you can tell them when and where, and I think it's just mostly so like if you're shooting and people get like call in about it, they know
Like, oh,
there's somebody that's coyote hunting. Yeah, so I think it's pretty cool. But
Yeah. It's usually just if we're doing tournaments and stuff, we know where to do that. But usually,
do you always coyote hunt at night, or do you do it in the day too?
Before thermals, we used to during the day, but I can't.
Yeah. Which I guess before, I mean, obviously when they cut hay and we all brush hog and stuff, we're going out with our, hit 7mm stuff or 6.5 and stuff like right before dark.
Right before dark.
But
like,
then we have our
dusk.
thermals with us in the truck. So once it gets dark, we'll take those out. But
You find it better in the nighttime?
yeah.
I don't.
It's hard to tell. I don't know. I mean, I've killed a lot of coyotes. I mean, you kill a lot of coyotes brush hogging. I mean,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I almost compare. Lately, I've been thinking just like deer hunting with coyote hunting. You have your guys that are true believers in the moon or the weather or whatever. I can't put a science to it.
yeah.
We can go out one evening, or I mean any given day, and it feels perfect. It's going to be a good night, and you just go home stumped.
Don't even hear one.
With coyotes.
Yeah.
Well, with deer as well.
Well, that was my next question. You run cell cameras? Run cell cameras? How many cell cameras do you guys run a piece?
I'm running.
I think I'm up to 8.
That's right. Yeah, 8 or 9 is what I'm running. Browning.
Same farms or different farms?
Different.
So, up until this year, I only ran like a couple cell cameras, and then I started getting addicted. Well, this year, I ran cell cameras on 3 different pieces, 12 of them, but on like a couple. Then I had a monster deer show up. It looked like 200 inches as a main frame, 12. Ended up being like 185 inches, but it looked giant. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Giant.
well, yeah, but I moved all my cameras to this one farm and just started putting them all over the place. And it's crazy how much you can learn that way.
Oh, yeah.
Especially I spent 2 weeks hunting up there watching cameras, and those cameras will tell you wind direction, everything.
Moon phase.
You really start to collect a whole different type of intel on their movements with the winds, and
Yeah, you have all your cameras coming in live feed.
Uh-huh.
So you're looking at it. You're also looking outside at that time. You know what's happening. When you go check your SD card, but it's a week later.
Yeah. I would have never killed the buck I killed this year.
Yeah.
You can't really relate to what's going on, especially when you're checking one card, then you go over here and check this card.
Yeah.
Your cell cameras, they're all coming in.
Yeah.
All these cameras are coming in
dude,
in order.
well, I got to the point of where I could see a deer pass a camera and be like, all right, his next stop's this camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the tree that one day, and it was a great day. I see multiple big bucks that morning, and got this 9-point. He's like 24 inches wide probably, and he's daylighting a bunch. He crosses a camera. I'm like looking at it. I'm like looking where I'm at, and he's got to cross a road. And I'm like, I wonder if he's gonna come to here next. And dude, 10 minutes he's standing in front of me. I'm like, oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You start like picking it out, and then you're like, all right, if they pass this camera at daylight or 20 minutes before daylight, and he's crossing the road over here, like you really start to pick them down.
Yeah.
I mean, like figure them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. The wind direction was another thing for me. Like you could pretty much bank on where they were coming through on different wind directions.
Yeah.
The crazy thing for me is like how often they would come towards my one spot with the wind at their back, but then they come into like where your corn pile is and they circle around.
Around. Yep. That's what that buck right there did. Yeah.
Yeah.
You say that. Yeah. That's what. Well, we were talking whenever it's ruts. Like I take all my cell cams off corn piles and put them on mulch creeps, and like just like when you were talking doghouse, you don't have bucks show up till October 30th and stuff. Them cell cams make.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that farm that I hunt mostly is ag. It's got corn on it all, like the whole time, and standing corn, and then so they'll put these giant rows of corn, and then beside it it'll be like a clover mix, and then it'll be 50 yards wide, and then it'll be corn on the other side of it. So like I always run a corn pile or two, but maybe 2 corn piles I put cell cameras on, and the rest I just put the cell cameras any other strategic place I could figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, I had pictures on the corn pile, but it was like October 31st, and it was like 1 o'clock in the day, and I dropped my tools and left. I didn't go back to work. I killed the deer.
I'm out of here. I mean, there's rumors of different states and maybe even Ohio like banning cell cameras.
Arizona, I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to run cell cams.
Dude, let me tell you something. I would be bummed.
Can you imagine?
A lot of people would.
And imagine how many big bucks will live.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it definitely changes everything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, I can't even use a regular camera anymore.
No.
Like, I want to pull out my phone and I wake up in the middle of the night.
Check it.
So, not this. Yeah. It's like last season, I went out, put out a corn pile, put a cell camera on it, and this was on a Sunday. On Tuesday at 12:58, 160-inch 11-point standing there in the middle of the day. And I called Walter. I'm like, dude, I don't have a tree stand up, nothing. I'm coming to get your climber.
Yeah.
And the next day I went in, climbed up at noon, and that deer walked back in and shot him again. Like,
It's a lucky climber.
yeah, there have been some big deer killed out of that climber. But I think the cell cameras changed a lot because you go in and you put out a regular camera, not a cell camera, and a deer comes in. If you notice, the first time he comes in, he's usually there for 2 days, maybe 3 days. He's going to daylight that first few times. And then he'll start changing. With the cell camera, in my opinion, the second that deer comes in, I'm going in the hunt.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's going to
be back.
He's going to be back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably not, cell cameras probably aren't great for letting big deer live,
Yeah.
but
Can you imagine? Yeah. Like, ever since.
Raven crossbows ain't great for letting big deer live either.
yeah.
That's like, I mean, when did cell cameras start coming out? When they start really, 3 years, 4 years? 2019?
It's been a while.
Well,
Until they, like,
I know I had my first covert cell camera in 2018.
18. So, yeah, so recent. I mean, I feel like we were talking about this too. Ever since they came out, you didn't see the bucks.
Well,
They're the amount of bucks that are getting killed.
yeah. Well, the difference between when they come out now too is, I think I paid $350 for that one covert. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that was the only run I ran that year.
Yeah.
Now you can buy them for $100 a piece.
Yeah.
Every time I go to Tractor Supply, I'm buying another one.
Oh, yeah. That's it. I got him on them Brownings. So you go on there, they have them sales. It's buy one, get one free.
Yeah.
It's like, shit. What was it?
I'm up now.
Yeah, $119 and you get one free on like 1 week. I'm like, I got him. You bought that. I mean, you can't beat.
Got one for Eli.
Yeah, I'm spending, I don't know how much I'm spending a month on cell cams. It's worth it.
Yeah. I don't know. The stealth cameras are okay, but the monthly plans are kind of pricey and quality's the battery life's terrible on them.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what.
The Browning battery life is you put batteries in it once and you're about done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you used to?
I use all Brownings, yeah.
What about you?
I have Brownings and Spy Point.
Spy point. I had a couple spy points, but I just had terrible luck with them.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is also like 2019, so there's a big difference.
My Blackgate didn't use any batteries either.
Now, I love that covert I had years ago, but
See, so I ran Tacticam and I loved it, but I had a problem with I don't know what it was. It had to be coons. They're going up and they're ripping that antenna off. It kept on breaking my antenna.
really,
Yeah, these
I had that.
these Brownings, I had,
Antenna on the
I had 3 Tacticams and all antennas broke off.
So the Brownies don't have a big.
A little knob.
I just don't know if that would work where I'm at. Like,
See, now they come out with one. My brother bought one. It's a little more expensive, but it's an antenna. But I'm telling you right now, that thing's like, I mean, you got to break it.
Really?
And it's in there. And it's,
well, they have like the different antennas now that you can like screw in and then you put
put up a top. Yeah. Yeah.
the
Solar.
just for like areas. I know like to where I'm at, there's just bottoms of certain hollows. Like there's just no service there. Like,
The Tacticam will work about anyway.
Yeah, I will
Yeah.
say that. Tacticam that's why I'll lower Salem there where I hunt. I mean, if I took the Browning out there. Well, actually, I did have the Browning, and it roughed pretty good off one bar, but the other side of the property.
can you switch cell providers with that one?
Yes.
So like some of my stealth cams from like a couple years ago, you had to switch SIM cards.
Okay.
But now with the new ones, they just automatically choose whichever it's got service.
Yeah. 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 I will agree. Them Tacticams, they do get service. It seems like everywhere.
The Blackgate.
Blackgate's, yeah.
Blackgate got service.
The only thing I don't like about the Tacticams is their physical size.
Yeah.
It's just big.
Yeah.
I like the stealth, and maybe the Brownings are the same way, but
Nice and compact.
they're just little. You know what I mean? They, yeah. You guys put yours like waist high on the ground, or do you put them up?
The higher the better.
Yeah. we just had that conversation, and I agree. I started taking a 3-foot stick with me and put it on the tree and climb up, screw them in, and angle them down, and I think that's
Really?
the best.
Why is that? Just better quality, like picture of the deer, or
I just started noticing mostly with cell cameras, it just seemed like they spooked the deer.
really?
They don't see them. They don't smell them if they're.
Yeah, they don't notice them. Maybe the magnetic field and stuff off of them ain't bothering them or whatever. And then people don't steal them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What's sweet about these or Brownings is that they have a GPS built into them.
It'll show you right where it's at.
So if you say you went to my spot and stole it, I could see you running down the road with it.
Really?
Yeah.
It stays on. So yeah, I don't know if the stealths are like that. I know I can like pull up the app, set the camera location on a map,
Yeah.
you know, and that way you get the weather, the wind, and
If you go on map right here, you zoom out, trail cam 1 right there.
it automatically pinpoints it. What if it's turned off?
But it ain't gonna get no signal.
So
Show you the last signal.
yeah,
I run bolts through all my, well, I guess they could break those too though. So yeah, it doesn't,
I don't put nothing. I bungee cord them.
I don't know so if you turn them off, they will. Yeah, it probably will. I don't know.
Signal.
Okay, so it goes off I thought there was like a little GPS.
can you turn the cameras on with the app though?
Nah, not that I know of.
Maybe the newer ones, not the ones. Yes, I guess. I mean,
That would be something, dude. Like, oh, this guy stole my camera. Turn it on.
yeah.
All right, I know where he's at.
yeah, true. That'd be cool. Heck, that'd be a good idea for him. Brownie, take a look at this video. I guess the trail camera you can turn it on from your phone.
I had a buddy that got one of his stolen, and I don't know if they left it on or how the GPS worked or whatever, but like he could see it was at somebody's house, and he goes and knocks on the door, and he's like, somebody here's got my trail camera, and it was a couple kids. We got it back.
Yeah,
I can see the tree that it's in.
yeah.
I mean, that's right where it's at on that log, right by that tree, right behind the pond. There's the pond.
Yeah, that's like going back to them.
Now the horse park.
Yeah, going back to them spooking. That's like that coyote
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as the
Soon as
camera
it came-
turned on, he looked right at it.
Yeah.
took off.
With the brownies, can you share your pictures with somebody else?
Yep.
I know with like the stealths, like a buddy of mine that hunts the same property, like he puts up a camera and he just adds me to it, and I put up a camera, I add him to it.
See the pictures and stuff.
So like I can see the
I thought you meant just like send a picture from the app.
no.
I can share it. Yeah.
Yeah, so like you can just share the camera. Like if let's
Same apps on her phone. She just opens them up and looks at my cameras.
right, but like the way the stealth is like if you had stealth cameras and you had your app profile, you put out a camera, you can click share camera, put my email on it for my app, and then when I open up my app, that camera pops up,
Same way here.
so I
Yep.
can see it.
Yep.
Yeah,
And you see all the pictures. It sounds.
but it's off of your account. That's what I'm saying is different. Like with the stealths, I still log into my account. You would log into your account, but I could share my camera to your account, and you could share your camera to my account.
I don't know how this one's. Yeah, I don't think
The
both
Blackgate does. I don't know about that.
I'd say all of them new will be doing it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But I didn't know it, but I thought it was pretty cool. All of a sudden, like my buddy's like, "Hey, I just put up a camera. I see you an invite." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Open up my app and it was like, "Accept invite."
Especially if you
Like-
two are hunting together. Like.
Well, that's what it was.
Yeah.
You know, he had 10 cameras out and I got 12 cameras out, and we're just sharing.
Yeah, I got Josh's right here. I don't know how to get it open, but
Same concept.
Yeah. Yeah, which I got. I mean, I have nothing against Tad camera. They're not my, antennas are breaking, but I don't think I'll ever get away from Brownings now. I mean, you just, for the price and what is it, I think it's for unlimited, you pay $15.99 a month or $14.99 a month, and then every single other one you add to is $9.
Well, it's about like stealth then, I think.
Yeah.
It's I think you pay $30 or something for like unlimited, and then every camera you add is $10 or something.
Bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can go on there, and if you're not getting a crazy ton of pictures, if it's on trails or whatever, you can put like 1,200 photos.
Yeah, something like that.
Knock it down to $5 or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I've talked to some people that are running like 50, 80, 100.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, first off, how do you have time to go put out 100 cameras? Number two, how do you have enough property to put out 100
That's like-
cameras?
Remember where they're at.
How would you remember
How do you
all
look at it
of
on
them?
your phone? I'd
Yeah.
be on my phone all day. Like, oh my God, scrolling.
Dude, imagine having 100 cameras out with notifications on.
Oh, ding, 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 ding.
Every chipmunk, every squirrel, every
Yeah.
leaf, every deer.
I can barely keep up with the ones I have. That's why that Bomar. I don't know if you guys know that Bomar. I mean, he took a picture of like, it was a pile. I mean, like off the floor like that.
Yeah.
At camps. I'm like, my gosh.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. If somebody wanted to sponsor us with cameras and send me 50, I would find a place to put them.
100%.
I
100%.
love them on our traps.
Yeah. Yeah. Traps, checking trap.
The traps is sweet.
Yeah.
He sends me pictures like, well, I'm going to go get this coyote. I'm like, that's
Yes. That's why I just sent him pictures. I put a couple snares out today. Devil's Bridge. I should have sent a video of that one crossing that.
Yeah, I got that video.
Yeah.
Great video.
Send you that.
really.
It's a coyote going across. We call it Devil's Bridge, an old sycamore across a creek.
Mhm.
And when that water's
They're in the coyote rut.
yeah, when that water comes up, that's the only spot they can cross.
That's where they go.
And that's how many we killed on that?
I ate that one year.
Yeah,
Snare them all?
snare them all.
Really?
Yeah,
Up to 17 or 18 now.
yeah, just on that one little.
That one.
We about and I'm putting that snare around that a little branch coming up. We about wore that thing out.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys see,
Make a snare with a pole on it.
yeah,
Send it from the bank.
yeah, yeah.
You, anybody ever trap any beavers? I only ask because I just bought traps to try to catch some on some property.
I had a friend come out. He used to do a bunch of trapping growing up, and we were deer hunting one day, and he saw all the sign on the creek along our farm, so he came out. We ended up catching one, and then we pulled the traps, but
Just use a Connie bear on the slide, or
down in the water.
yeah,
Drown.
it's like
Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy, he like, how many beavers can you kill?
Three.
Yeah, I think he's
No, there's no limit to beavers. You'd kill 3 otters.
okay. So beaver, yeah,
Beavers, there's a limit.
he farmer called him and was like, listen, like these beavers go up the cornfield, light all our corn down, like, and it's real swampy next to it. And then they're actually damming that swamp up, making it rise. I was getting the cornfield, they couldn't get the combine to it. So he went in there this year, and I think he's caught like 7 in like 2 months.
really.
Beavers, giant beavers too.
No,
That's who we want to talk to.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know nothing about it, but we got some property like right by our office, and there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, they do some damage.
Well, so a buddy of mine was actually deer hunting there, and he called me. He's like, "Oh, I shot this buck." So we go in there and looking for it, and my other buddy's like, "Look at all these trees chopped down by these beavers." Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
This deer died right beside this like big creek, and there's beaver slides.
Beaver slides.
everywhere. Yeah,
I didn't realize how. I mean, I guess I never really thought about it, but until he caught that one and got it mounted, he hasn't mounted.
Yep.
That thing is huge.
Big.
Holy, like they're giant. I didn't know they're that big.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think mine was 46 pounds.
yeah.
That's tank.
That's big.
Yeah.
How big do they get?
I don't know.
70 pound. So I was thinking probably like six. How long do they live?
I don't know.
Till they die.
I mean, if you found the big beaver dam, how many beavers are usually going to be there?
They don't. They kind of separate as they have babies. The babies grow.
Yeah.
On.
Yeah. Up here around us, they don't really dam though that I know of.
No.
Not the big creek.
It says 10 to 12 years they live. But I mean, that comes to, I mean, he caught them, 7 or 5? I forget. It's a lot. He's caught a lot in 2 months in that one same spot.
So they travel a lot. They move.
Really, they don't stay in the same area. They build a dam and they're like, all right, we screwed this water up. Let's go do it.
Yeah.
again."
And that's like, I mean, right where you guys caught that one, there's another one there. I mean, they're up. We were duck hunting the creek there probably 2 weeks ago, and I saw there's.
What's the logic behind it? Why do they dam them up?
They're trying to raise the water.
Yeah, just
Make a pond.
the whole thing. That's their goal. This water's flowing. We're going to stop that.
We're gonna stop them. Yeah.
No more moving water.
when they hear water running. They don't like it.
They don't like it.
I think they have tapes where they play tapes of running water, and the beavers come out to try to stop it.
Really? Wow.
There've been beavers. They put tags through their tails. They bolt this tag in their tail, and the trappers catch them and report it like your duck.
Yeah.
And
Like a banded.
I saw a banded mallard there a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
and some of them have been known to go like 10 miles, and some of them been known to go like 50 miles.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And your duck was
Oh, it was so. I killed that duck in the Little Hocking River, and in August of this year, it was banded in Manitoba, Canada. So Manitoba, Canada is 8 hours north of South Dakota. No, North Dakota.
6 months later.
Yeah. Wow. So I think it was 26 hours away drive. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a little more believable by something that can fly.
But yeah, it was banded as I think it was like Delta Beach, Manitoba, Canada.
Yeah.
It's like a gigantic lake. I mean, it's like, holy crap, I'm holding this thing. And
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like deer. I mean, they travel a lot farther than people realize when you like start like looking into the studies and research of it. Like, did you guys ever see where Michael Waddell killed that collared deer on his farm? It's been years ago. I don't know, probably I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, maybe longer. But anyway, he was hunting and this deer come walking in with a collar on. Of course, Michael shot it, but he got all the information back on it. I can't remember. So don't quote me to it, but I think that deer come from like 12 miles away, 10 miles away or something.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely possible. But like me and Walter talk, when you realize how fast a deer gets from one spot to another when you're tracking it or like running cameras, like that deer that I shot that I called Waldo, like no lie, dude, he'd be on this camera in an hour or less. He'd be a mile away on this camera. In another couple miles, he'd be a mile in this direction. Like that's
Yeah.
in a mile circle, a couple miles apart in the same night every night. Like this, so 5, 6, 7 miles wouldn't be that tough. I would.
Yeah.
They can cover some ground.
Oh, sure. I know guys that have killed geese and stuff that is like crazy far, like banded. And it's cool. Actually, I was hoping a lot of those ducks and geese, like they'll tell you the band and stuff, and then some of them have like a prize. So if you kill one, one, it'll like, you look it up and it'll say, I don't know how much it is, but I heard they can predict like up to $1,000 prize. If you turn it in, that state or I don't know how that works, but it's Canada, they send you money. I'm not sure how it works, but yeah, I know a guy shot a geese and like won $1,000 off the band.
Wow.
Yeah.
You'd like to do a lot of duck hunting?
Oh, yeah. Now, I mean, back then, like probably 2016, 2017, we did a good jump shoot woodies off the creek. Mm-hmm. And now, oh my gosh, boy, Garrett and I have, Garrett has a boat. We got beaver tail blinds. We're running probably, I'd say between Boyd and us, $1,000 in decoys.
I've never done it, but I think it'd be fun.
Oh, it's once you get into it, you're hooked.
We
got a grill. They start cooking breakfast before daylight out there waiting.
Dude, I've seen some of those TikTok videos of like this giant blinds underground. There's 10 people in there frying eggs and sausages. I'm like, oh, that looks rough.
What was it? Last Christmas, real cold snap, bunch of ducks came down, and actually the Muskingum was froze over, but it was standing up where we get the boat up to the little dam, and they were piled on the little dam because that was the only spot that wasn't frozen over.
Yeah.
And I had that video of us, like, I think we killed like 6 mallards, a couple geese, and I have a video of me cooking breakfast in the boat, geese and ducks in there. It's a damn good time.
I got a friend that I met several years ago. He lives in Ocean City and he runs bow fishing charters.
Oh yeah.
And so a couple years I went up there and we shot stingrays off a boat, like chase them down. It's pretty sweet.
Oh yeah.
Dude, so he has a tower seat in the middle of the boat, and we like mounted the camera arm on it. So we would take turns sitting up there filming while there was 2 and 3 guys on the front of the boat
shooting.
And the water's real shallow. It's a flat bottom boat, and you're like just cruising along. And then all of a sudden you'll just see this like brown streak take off. So then you're like telling the captain, you're like, straight ahead to the right, and then you just keep speeding up. And you just run these stingrays down. They always slow back down and stop and then shoot them. But he does sea ducks. I've been trying for 2 months to get a group of people to go and shoot sea ducks. So if you guys want to go, let me know.
I'm game. I love waterfowl hunting, so
Yeah, Ocean City. I think he said 4 people, maybe 5 he could take.
That'd be sweet. I'd like to get people too. The spring snow goose migration, like out Illinois, Missouri. If it's unlimited, you kill as many as you want. So there's guys in some states. So there's guys. I mean, you're running them extended tubes, and you're sitting there, and it's nothing to burn a barrel.
Oh, dude, have you ever watched that?
Yeah,
Dude, they just
you shoot
thousands of flocks.
Yeah, and you're like, I saw a video. These guys legit went through 2,000 rounds in like 2 days.
That's what I was telling you. Tim Wells likes to do.
Yeah,
Boomerang.
Like,
and his bow, and that guy can do everything.
I guess it's kind of silly to say, yeah, he likes to shoot that because he literally likes to kill everything with anything.
Yeah, spear. Yeah.
Did you see the video where he killed that grizzly with the shot it between the eyes?
Oh, with the compound or that recurve.
Or that recurve.
Yeah, recurve.
You haven't seen that? No. Oh my, dude! This grizzly comes running off this hill, and he just takes off running right at it. It stops and looks at him. He draws back, shoots.
Right between the eyes.
Just drops that grizzly. I'm like, you gotta be kidding.
This guy shoots geese out of the air with a bow.
He shoots the head off of doves.
Yeah.
Have you not seen like some of his stuff?
I've seen some of his stuff, but I haven't seen the grizzly bear video.
Dude, I'll show you
He shot a black bear with a
blowgun. Yeah. He's sitting in this brush pile, and this black bear comes up at like 10 feet, and he shoots it with one of those big bore blowguns with the little broadheads.
I have one. I have that blowgun.
Dude, I'd like to.
Yeah, they're sweet. I shot a possum with it, and it didn't go.
He speared like a 170-inch whitetail off a platform.
Yeah.
You should watch him shoot the baboons.
Oh my gosh, with the blowgun?
No, he shoots them with the bow running.
Oh, he does it all. It's crazy. That guy.
Are we on the Wi-Fi here?
I can get you on the Wi-Fi.
When he's shooting the baboons running, they're coming into an opening, and he's shooting where they're...
I don't know which one it is.
They're running across the opening at like 80 yards. So when he shoots, the baboon's here, and he's aiming here, and it runs clear across the opening. He misses the first one. He's like, oh, I got my range. Second one runs out, and he smokes it. It's just
he was shooting some kind of bird, doves or something.
The head off of doves in midair.
And he's the same thing. He's shooting these arrows. Not only that, he shoots no rest, no sights with one of those Oneidas. And you can see him shooting these birds, and the arrows going out, curving way in. The bird's coming and runs into it. It doesn't seem real.
Pretty amazing. He shoots them little dikers off the front of the truck. He calls them in with his nose, they come running in real fast, and he shoots them little tiny deer.
He almost died in Africa a few years ago. So he goes, and they drop him off, and he climbs up in this little tree in the middle of nowhere, and he's got a spear. And as he gets part way up, he drops something. So he starts to climb back down. His satellite phone's still hanging in the tree, and as he's climbing down, he drops a spear, and it goes to his thigh. And they're not coming back to get him for like hours, and he can't climb up the tree to get his satellite phone. And he's videoing it on his cell phone, blood pouring out of him, like crazy, dude.
Yeah, about bled out right there on the ground.
This is the video of him shooting all this.
Yeah, there's like a 2-minute highlight clip or something, and it's unbelievable.
Find the ones.
You met Tim Wells, didn't you?
Yeah. Back in 2018, I was at the ATA show and met him out there, and he was a cool dude.
You talked to him for a minute?
Yeah, he come over to my buddy's booth, and we sat there and talked for maybe 10, 15 minutes.
He hadn't killed anything that day.
I blow darted this fly on the way in.
I've probably done that too.
Yeah. Remember shooting the bumblebees with the pellet gun? The wood burrs, yeah.
It was actually your airsoft. Well, we did shoot in pellet.
We shot him with a pellet gun.
You had that airsoft gun. That was awesome.
Yeah. I was a little kid, and we had this little building, and there's wood burrs always coming out, and we were shooting it with.
That's it right there.
I'll sign up for your age.
Oh my!
And I'll let you do it.
You got that childproof internet.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's the fact that
Yeah, YouTube's cracking down. I know YouTube's cracking down on just any hunting stuff. I know like Seek One and all them have.
well, interestingly enough, so since I started this, we'll do this another day, I guess. But since we started doing this podcast stuff, I've been playing with algorithm and hashtags. So I put up a random video of us like running down this deer and tackling it and whatever. No hashtags, really not much of a description, and it got like 5,000 views in like the first couple days. I put another one up of us. What was it? The fox video, him releasing the fox, and I put a bunch of like hunting hashtags and stuff in it. For the first day, it got like 12 views. I go back in, I delete all those hashtags and stuff off of it and put it back on. It was up to like 5,000 views. Wow. It's like they monitor anything that's like hunt related and kill it.
Oh, they shut her down.
They shut her down.
Hunting is a dying sport.
Oh yeah.
You guys are the future to our hunting. Without you guys, we just don't have it.
It's it's definitely an uphill battle when it comes to trying to do something. Social media, TikTok, man, like any kind of dead animal on there, or like
Not allowed.
you can put them up to the point of getting shot, but if you shoot one on there, it's gone instantly. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're at 2 hours, so I guess we better wrap this up. We end up talking all night long.
Yeah.
But I want to say thanks to Matt and Garrett and for having us over here and spending some time showing us some coyote footage and a 2-hundo, the first 2-hundo on our podcast. So yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Giant.
Yeah, next time you shoot one of those, I want to come help you drag it out. But all right, guys, have a great night. Appreciate it.